Hello everyone, and welcome to the unlucky 13th episode of the Record Around podcast. This is a series which we take representatives from different record arounds across the subreddit and discuss topical matters in the world of RRs. We are joined with a full house of regulars. I am here with Maximum 50.
Hey, that's me.
Lego Beast.
Yep.
So much for making it clear who everyone is. Everyone's going to really remember that voice. Right, we have Casmic.
Howdy.
And we have, I don't know why I'm still calling you the new regular. It's your third episode, but we have Lethal Winter.
AKA Garage Door Thief.
AKA what? Alright, fine. And then we are joined by Evolution. So we have Diana B.
A.
We have Evader.
Are you the reason why my garage door is gone?
Yeah.
And we have Vinny212.
Hi.
Yeah, I've had a shout. You know, in the description we put like everyone's YouTube links. For evaders, can we put that other channel?
I'm down.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
nobody's gonna
doesn't
click
need
on
any
him.
subs,
Can we
let's
have
be
an
honest.
They
immigrant
might.
link of like
350's
my
enough.
face?
Everyone click on Evader's YouTube link in the
No.
description of this
Don't do
video. Okay.
Can we just soulmate?
We have to do it now.
No.
Gone into vlogs.
Otherwise, we'll be disappointing our one viewer,
and
Project
a new mission
McCabe.
Day 56.
Okay. So yeah, we've got a whole series of lovely topics for you here, as per usual, devised about
We do?
15 minutes prior to recording, as per usual. So do we want to get started?
No.
Yeah.
You may as well.
I get the impression everyone wants to get started. Okay.
There's UHCs
Don't
on the
speak
calendar,
for
man.
me.
There are UHCs on the calendar. Diana really wants to play. You know you can play UHC while we do this, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right
God,
now.
no, that's a terrible idea. I would.
That's
I
what
could
I'm
not
doing right now.
focus.
I'm the only
RPG
person
right
who
now.
is. I just have to sit here and.
No, I don't do anything either. I have
Oh,
complete
really?
utter focus on the screen, staring at
studying.
TeamSpeak icons.
He's dedicated.
This is
Okay.
important.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna start with our usual part of the episode, the RR Roundup, which is where we take a look back and discuss all the recorder rounds which have aired since the most recent episode of the podcast, which was the top 100 intros. So do we want to get started with those then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
May as well.
Okay. So
Right.
the
You know, you're asking me, I'm
first
like, yes.
round on the list is one which recently finished airing and got quite a lot of good reception. Was Back in Time season 4.
Ugh.
Does anyone want to start us off with Back in Time season
Didn't
4?
we talk about this in the Desire
Yeah.
podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, we did,
No,
but I
you
think
mean
it
the
only
Back in
just
Time
started. Like it was as far as the
episode 1 was out when we did
yeah,
it.
I
and
like
now the
the- I
entire
like the terrain
season's
for
really.
It was a very good season because
was.
Bob won and he top fragged. So
We didn't.
yes, he did. Didn't
He got
finish it?
3.
Berlin River
Yeah,
did.
And it was baked potato chip.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my favorite type of shit.
No. It was Berlin River.
But yeah, it was a good season. I was kind of taken a little bit off guard by the amount of early PvP, but it definitely made for a more different season than I expected. But
I
it was
actually
an
kind of-
interesting one.
I actually kind of like when there's early PvP, not like beginning of episode 2 PvP because that's always kind of like shitty in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like.
She always
I like
does.
it when there's some early PvP, some early deaths, because it gives some action. Because a lot of people don't like watching the early like caving episodes where people
Yeah,
are just
I don't like
constantly
that either.
caving. Yeah, people want the action, so I
It
think
gives
that was good
something.
for them.
Gives something to peep
don't-
out. Yeah.
I don't think Kakensees deserved what happened to him.
I don't know what happened, but I did see Cat's
Uh,
tweet about everyone giving Michael shit about the way he killed him.
What
Yeah,
happened?
Green Galaxy grabbed Kak and threw him against the wall and like broke his neck or something, like halfway through episode 2.
Yeah.
Wait, please.
And Kak was
please.
like half naked, like he
Kak
was
was-
like,
Oh
something.
no!
Cat wasn't even
Oh,
full
God.
iron when he died, but
Oh, duh.
Michael just like jumped him and
My
Took him
favorite
out.
death-
Please, he goes by Michael now.
come on,
Oh,
get
God,
with the
shut up.
times.
My
My
I-
favorite
New
death-
year,
My
new him.
favorite death was when FDeath said he wasn't gonna upload after he died.
when he said he was about to combat log and then he died. Yeah,
and
that
then
was good.
proceeded to open the Skype chat still on recording and spoiled someone who hasn't publicly played a season yet.
Yeah, that was good. That
Big
was
up
good- good moment.
Brodio.
That was, shout out to
That was my favorite
Brodio.
episode.
Yeah. Can't wait to see him in season 5. Yeah.
What if he gets kicked now? 'Cause everyone knows.
He might. That would be upsetting. Sorry,
Yeah, good
Brody.
season. Little weirder than I expected, but it was certainly a fun watch.
But going
I
back to
like
what
the
Diana
I like
said
us-
about not liking early episode 2 PvP, it's only as much of a problem as people make it. Like, if both parties didn't mind, it was just somebody saw someone else in the cave, the person who died didn't mind, and their viewers don't kick up a fuss
Yeah,
about it,
but you
it's
know,
fine.
when-
But it's when the
you-
person who dies actually makes a deal about it, everyone's like, yeah, this
Well,
is
in
wrong,
my
this shouldn't
opinion,
happen. But if the
when,
person himself
you
doesn't give a
spend
shit...
2 months organizing our recorded round and put a lot of effort into it and have a lot of problems along the way and finally manage to get everything working, and then you die 1 minute into episode 2 because Probo is thirsty for a kill, you get
Isn't
all
that? Don't you die
salty
every?
about
Don't
it.
you die like episode 1?
Well,
every season?
Alright, are we
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
evolution or back in
6,
time
8,
here?
10.
Excuse
The way-
me.
the way-
I have something to say about
It has to be
this.
consensual.
I have
You are
something
so
to say
sweet,
about
Diana.
this.
No, I'm just
Shut
kidding.
up, I hate you, die.
I am tied for second with Sir Please Stop and Mr. Team Raven for the most first deaths. 3 of which have been PvP, I'm pretty sure.
How many
Actually, no,
times?
Or took a bath.
6. But
Oh god, see, I thought my 4 was a lot.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Majora and Frost have the most.
And
with
to be
7.
fair, one season I wasn't even first death, I was just...
Mate, Katie
Died.
Lawson has
Wait,
that in
do you remember-
6 seasons of Pathfinder,
Anyway.
like 3.
I mean, to be fair,
first
the way I
Anyway.
see it is that like
Anyway.
if you're enabling PvP at that point, then I think it's kind of fair game. The only way I would see otherwise is if like the person isn't even full iron, then maybe
Yeah,
you
no,
should
and I agree with
reconsider.
that.
Yeah, I like that one because in Frenzy Season 7, the one that I organized, I died 5 minutes into episode 2 to a Team TU, and I only had iron boots, so...
And you 10-hearted you. Yeah.
Nope, I
early
hit him once.
PvP'd before, and then when I early PvP'd, it was like, I think maybe end of 2 or something. I got like a bit of shit for it, cause
Was that 6 as well
Yeah,
when you killed Dragon?
Cause the
But
game
that
was the game
the
was
game
you
mode,
couldn't
yeah.
get apples until like episode 3, and my teammate was at like 2 hearts, so I went to go kill Dragon Pazza for a head since we need healing, and then everyone was like, "Wow, that's like dick move." I was like, "Okay," but it was like end of episode 2.
didn't think that was a dick
That's
like,
fine.
That's,
That's,
like,
a good
full
40
iron.
minutes. That's a good 40 minutes of game time
Yeah,
at that
was a
and
point.
real
you and
fight.
Dragon are pretty... But Dragon's a good player. It's not like, it was me where I'm just shit and terrible.
I don't think
I
that
kinda
should
hated
make a
mine.
difference depending on the skill of the player, though.
And I had to.
It doesn't.
I
No,
had
I'm
to
just
do it
saying,
from
No,
my
but that's the thing, you
teammate.
say it doesn't, but to a lot of people it does. Like, if a really bad person killed a really good person at the beginning of episode 2, the humour of it would
Yeah.
completely
funny.
overrule any opinion of, wow, that
I
was a
agree with
scummy
that.
move. But if Shut Up Brick killed somebody not good at PvP at the beginning of episode 2, it would be like,
Yeah.
oh, what the fuck, you're such a dick and stuff
Griffin
like that.
Zeneker is, infamous for killing people early episode 2.
Or if you
Before
kill
you
someone with a lot of subscribers.
Could you imagine?
Cough, gwap,
Could you imagine
cough.
the backlash that would get if, a minute into episode 2, I killed I just straight up killed
Bobby
me.
the turtle.
No, not Bobby. I could never.
Imagine if you killed Bobby the
No,
Turtle
he'd
when he
kill
ran
you.
out of hard drive space.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Imagine if.
Before the topic changes from back in time, I was gonna say I actually really like custom terrain a lot, so I really liked the
Oh, yeah.
And it
like,
actually got
0-0 and
used
stuff.
I
as
agree.
well.
It's
And-
one of my It's one of the things I like about Out of Orbit is
Yeah.
the custom terrain. I
Yes.
want to do a custom terrain season of Evo eventually.
Let's do a
Rocket
season like
Roll.
on
Like
Mars.
Well, you had
about,
that. You had season 4, which
Yeah,
was the.
season 11.
Oh yeah, the
We did
Terraria was pretty cool, but
Yeah.
that wasn't necessary. That was
Yeah,
custom,
the
but that
terrain was
wasn't
the
like
same. It was just the
the
border.
walls. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
still
it
kinda
affected
cool,
the
though.
game.
It
but
made
I like
for a
something-
different
I don't know.
experience of
remember
gameplay,
Naruto
though.
Archer Knight's disgusting pack he used.
It
in
wasn't that
Evo 4.
bad. Come on.
No, I remember
Custom.
Cappy Rappy used the
The Terraria. sound pack.
not the Terraria sounds, like the actual Terraria
Yeah.
pack, which was
So,
so
did
ugly.
so did Archer. So
Yeah, it
like,
was
the
so-
blocks
it
are
was
really
so bad.
small.
I used.
I don't
I think
remember
I,
that
I
season
think
of
I
Evo
used
very
the sound.
well.
I think I used the sound pack just to.
A bunch of people did, yeah. A few people did.
like when I played around that was like beta terrain, I used like a beta pack just because I was like, why not? It was
The,
cool.
the most memorable thing about Evo 4 is probably like that cave fight where you had like X Hockey, Kokioner, Short
Yes,
Gamer, and
that
Copper
was
Walrus
good.
like
What
all
about when
within
Diana
the
got
vicinity of
drowned?
each other.
Yeah, that was a very good fight. That was fun to watch.
Remember
Yeah.
before when Stuff put a lot of editing into his video
And
and
he
then died
died.
immediately?
That's probably why he put so
Right
much editing in
I
because he
think
didn't have
right
much
after
footage to
that-
I
edit.
was
think-
so mad about that.
I remember in that season. That was the one where I think me and Tragic fought. That was like one of Tragic's first season, his second
That was
season.
Tragic's first win before
Second,
the
it was his
snowball of
second
5
season,
seasons
and
in
that
a
was also
row.
the season that Diana drowned. So good
Yeah,
season. guys.
great, good memes. Good
Goodbye,
times.
guys.
Hey, I'm still not as big of a meme as Zarky drowning because I wasn't screaming. I was just
In your
freaking
head, you
out.
were though.
crying a little bit
Internal
because that season
screaming,
took
yeah.
a lot of fucking work to put into. There's a lot of custom building.
And there was
for
traps
them.
too on each side, like there's
Yeah.
traps and stuff.
Well, Evolution Season 4 is probably recent enough to be discussing the Roundup, right? That's
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
somewhat.
definitely.
This seems a little bit off topic, so we're gonna move
Yeah, I kinda
on. Unless anyone has any final remarks on Bit 4.
No, I don't think so.
Alright.
To the land of the night. Alright, let's go.
Thank you.
Right. The next one we have is Pathfinder 7. Woo!
Happy birthday, Jacob.
I know a lot of people were hating. Actually, not a lot of people, but like I saw Kanako was like salty at Jake, and
Oh,
I
fucking
don't.
hell.
Wait, why would
I
you say
I don't.
that?
I didn't understand
As he was getting
because
Because his name is
Aw.
Kinako.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, let's
to
not
summarize-
shit talk Kinako too.
To
wanna
summarize the
watch it.
situation in a
I
fair
think
way.
I think within the season it was a fair. It wasn't like a cleanup or a ghost kill. It was like a fair fight. So I don't really think there was any reason to
Yeah.
I
get
wanna
it.
point
I
out
think
that
Dom is the
actually-
only person who had a right to be angry at the way he died
But
to
you
Jake
can-
in that
I
season. He
think-
cobwebbed
I think
him in a hole and just bow spammed.
I think you can be upset about dying. I just like in your head or whatever. Oh, that was like a dumb death, or like I didn't have fun or whatever. But I don't think
Yeah.
like ranting about it on Twitter or Reddit or whatever is.
You should have
like,
seen him in the chat. I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's not go into that too much, but it was one of those, Jake, yeah, he got a lot of kills, and yeah, some people weren't happy, but I mean, the way I see it is he played smart and he won because of it, which I
Yeah.
think is what
And he was
anybody
a
would do if they were
solo.
given
Yeah,
the situation.
Yeah.
So-
I
yeah,
also wanna point out
in my
that-
opinion, Stenstone was robbed of a win.
He's the real
I
one.
didn't
I just
realize until
watched,
watching the goddamn final episode that at one point Sten's just like, oh, I see Jake, and like attempts to backstab him like so casually in a forest, and Jake runs away, and Sten's like, oh, you ran away. It's just like in the middle of the episode, I'm like, when the fuck did that happen? It was like the most casual encounter I've ever seen in the UH.
I didn't even know that he found him until he told me about it later. He was like, "Yeah, I was gonna backstab Jake," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't notice that. It was a thing that happened." But
It's
yeah.
just so random.
What was Dom taking a picture of in the intro?
What? Good question.
Oh, right.
Your art,
yeah.
you've got like the little box fingers.
Yeah.
I really like the intro for that season.
It was really good.
I like the changing backgrounds, how it was like certain like I don't know how to explain it. It was like they were like like the transitions, I guess you could say.
The buggy
They were, like-
effects,
They
kind
were,
of.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
and there was,
know-
like, changing and stuff.
At the early stages of that intro, a lot of people in the round weren't too keen on it because I think before a lot of the players were added, the background with just like the fuzzy stuff going on was a bit of an eyesore. But I think the other aspects of the intro sort of made
Makes it
it
kinda
less
quirky.
noticeable. But yeah, I think it's a shame that and Bit 4 were two rounds which were kind of screwed over by the timing of Top 103 because I think both should have been on there. Well, I mean,
Oh,
Bit
yeah,
4
definitely.
100% would have been on there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Pathfinder 7.
I think it would have been ranked pretty high too. It was a very, very good intro.
I mean, I'd say Pathfinder 7 is the best Pathfinder intro apart from Season 3, but even Season 3 didn't make it onto the top 100, which we talked about last
Oh.
week.
I blame that for the fact that the season 3 intro never got an official showcase on the Reddit because it was an episode 0 and then episode 1 sort of thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it was never
I don't,
actually like
I don't
fully
really
shown.
like that. I still think you should release the intro as
I
its
agree
own
with that.
post.
Yeah. I
That way-
also
that
agree.
way-
WMC
doesn't
do
get
that
the
every
attention.
season, and I don't
Yeah,
understand
same with
why.
R&R. R&R has done that recently for like.
Wait,
I know they
R&R
did
just
it for,
released
like,
episode
13
1 for their last season. They didn't
Yeah.
even release the intro.
Out of the blue.
That was so weird.
And because they don't do the organizers doc thing, it was nobody
Yeah.
knew when it was happening. It just kind of popped up out of the blue. It was like, hey,
Oh, yeah, they-
R&R.
Wait, is it not necessary to do
Risk and
the organizer
reward.
stuff?
Well, I mean, it's sort of...
It's very courteous to use it.
You can't
Yeah,
force
I
anybody
know, but-
to.
Yeah, I know, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, the
how did
subreddit's
they
free to
post
post on. I don't know why they've never done it, but they seem to be the only...
No. They used to do it, and then who organizes it?
Like Burning and Kowalski, you
Bernie
know.
and Kowalski.
Yeah. They're like, fuck this, and they left like 3 seasons ago.
Oh,
Huh.
right.
They used to do it.
There you
but
go.
They're the only like mainstream large round that doesn't use it, as far as I know.
Well, yeah, every
That
round
posted
wants to.
subreddit.
Mainly because all the organisers want to be in the organiser chat so they can spy and see what rounds are coming out. Like, you can see
Yeah.
all you can see all the rounds that go like, oh, can I add my co-organiser to the rounds? Like, why do you need to? You don't
Yeah,
actually
I
need
don't
2
understand
people.
that.
Well, literally only like 4 people typing that fucking chat.
I understand if like maybe
Don't.
the main organizer doesn't
Not
pay
going
attention
to
to
that.
say
That's
it,
not.
and the
Me and
second
Max.
person's there is kind of like
Me and Max
But,
had a bit
like,
of an argument over
two people
that.
really don't need access to the calendar.
Yeah, because really the only reason that chat exists is just so people can have access to the Google Doc to post it. So you only need one rep per round to actually
yeah,
have
I
have
access to
the
it.
Google Doc.
What?
What?
I have access. Oh, right, because I organized Frenzy. I forgot.
It's
Are you
Yeah.
sure? Because we changed it like a long time ago.
No,
Yeah.
Google
We have
Hold
a
on a minute,
completely
I made
new
the-
one
I'll
now.
make the-
Oh,
Shout
yeah,
out
I
to
remember
Shadow
that.
Apples. by the
Cosmic, I
way.
swear
Yeah,
you're
we
not.
have
You
a-
weren't even an
it's a
organizer when you made that
spreadsheet
chat.
Yeah, then I don't
I
know. I was gonna say, I had the
joined the
old one.
chat as a kind of a sort of co-organizer, sort of ish, and then I just made the new
Of what?
doc, and now I'm stuck here.
Yeah, no, you're stuck there now. I realized. I was like,
It's just-
wait, what
if-
round is
like,
chat
I'm just-
organized?
Cosmic is just the
I
godfather
have
of
made
all
the
recorded
statement that If enough
rounds.
people in the chat don't want me in there, I will leave. It's just I stay in there because I own the doc, and I'm kind of just trapped.
Yeah.
It's not like you're, as far as like we're aware, you're not running around spoiling things about record around, so I don't really see a big deal with it.
Yeah.
As far as
Because I
you
think
guys
that's
know.
the whole, like, that's the problem is people don't want, you know, people, it sucks because there's a part of it that says, that you can put in when you're recording your round, and I like that because then I know, like, okay, I have a lot of my people in so-and-so round, so we can't record that date because that
Oh,
other
yeah.
round is.
Yeah, you say that,
Like,
but I check
I'm
that
in
every
that
now and
round,
again,
usually I'm
and
in
no
that situation
rounds,
right now.
no
I
rounds
when
that
I
use
made the
that
doc-
have any
when I made
crossovers
the
with
doc,
Evolution.
everyone suggested, a bunch of rounds suggested, hey, add a section for recording days. And I was like, "Ah, okay, I'll make it. And now
No
Nobody
one
uses
uses it.
I stopped using it. I used it for 2 seasons, and I haven't.
Well, I
used it
think-
since.
At least every time I've run into, like before that was a thing, every time we've run into something like that where it's like, oh, another round's on the day, somebody's just informed the organizer and just been like, oh, that's being recorded on the day, and there's a good chunk of the
Exactly.
roster, so just don't
Yeah,
put that
yeah,
up as an
and I
option.
do
Also,
have
people just
that,
won't
but-
vote for it. You don't have to know why, but if I make a date and there's loads of people from another recorder rounds have all said they can't make that date at that time, being someone who knows quite a lot about recorder rounds and their rosters, I can
You put two and two
put
together.
2 and 2 together.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not that hard to do. I never
Yeah.
saw it as being that necessary. It's like the whole thing of, well, what's the point on not putting a date? Like, you don't lose anything. Like, I could make a doc for my round and put Christmas Day on there. Like, it's not going to get chosen, but if it
Oh,
happens to
God,
be the
not
date that the
this
most
again.
people can make. Yeah, but it's a good point. Like, I don't get
Good
why anyone would
discussion,
ever
yeah,
just
complain.
sad fan.
All right, Fridays opinions on Fridays. Let's
Has any
hear it.
rounds done Fridays usually?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Kaoki's done Ambition on Friday sometimes.
I have
Yeah,
Sonic has also
17.
recorded Agency on a
Like
Friday.
late night Fridays?
Yeah, Agency
Yeah.
Six.
Okay.
Agency 6 is on a Friday.
I was so mad about that. Okay, so I got a message
Kaoki
from
originally had a
Sonic.
season on a Friday, but he changed it to a Saturday and interfered with Evo.
I got a message from Mr. Sonic fan the day before Agency, which was on Thursday, and he's like, "Are you gonna show up tomorrow?" I'm like, "Don't you mean Saturday?" He's like, "No, Friday," and I'm like, "Oh, no, I won't be there." Like I said I was gonna be there because I was sure he said Saturday, but
Okay, no,
it was
but what
Friday.
annoys me are the people who just assume every round is on a Saturday, and they're
Oh.
just like, "Oh, it's on a Sunday. I
Oh,
thought
the
it was
people
a
who don't
Saturday."
think Sunday RRs
Simple.
exist
I
are the
actually did
worst.
Sunday RRs until,
Wasn't-
and then I added
wasn't
Brody,
there a
and
Desire
that wasn't really a
season?
possibility
Wasn't-
anymore.
Wasn't there a
Simple.
Desire season recorded on like a Tuesday or something?
Oh,
well,
Discovery.
no.
No. Discovery UHC was the worst. Season 1 was a Thursday. Season 2 was a Monday.
What?
I mean, I
Fuck.
understand maybe on the like during the summer, because no one's got school.
Yeah,
but-
Discovery
Like,
2 was
still
in-
very
Still
odd.
weird.
That's still
Well,
odd,
the,
yeah.
the infamous one that I always hear about is Remarkable 3 was on Thursday, and it was on like a school Thursday too. So that's the weird one that
I
people
know
talk
Roundup
about.
was very recently recorded on a Wednesday.
What
I
the?
mean, a lot of the fault for that is like just players not looking at what the actual day for the date they're voting on is. So
Yeah,
they
but-
just assume it's Saturday.
That's what I mean. It's like, come on,
I
you
always
can
put,
pay
like,
attention.
Saturday,
Sim-
Sunday,
because
whatever.
simple
Chunk
fix
3
of
was
that.
a Sunday, and 2 of my players didn't tell me until 24 hours before the round that they thought it was a Saturday, and they asked me, why wasn't Chunk Loader recorded today? Because it's not today, it's tomorrow.
Are you throwing shade at me right now?
Okay,
Yes, I am.
two simple
Fuck
fixes
you.
to that. When you're doing a date vote and you put down the date, put down the day of the week it is too. Like on the
Mhm.
date vote,
I-
or
I
Can you-
only do
Does
Saturdays.
Doodle
and
have
don't
that
be double
feature?
spawn.
Doodle
Only do
does have that.
Saturdays.
I
Don't
think
be
Doodle
fucking
does.
double
Yeah,
spawn
Doodle does have
organizers.
it, yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you've got a doodle form and it has a 3 consecutive dates, I'm going to assume that the first one is Friday, the second one is Saturday, and the third one is Sunday. If I see the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th, I'm not expecting that to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well,
so
I've gotten to the point with Evo where I have one AU person and I have a new person who's EU in the round. So I kind of am stuck in this 5 p.m. Eastern slot because it can't be too late because then one person can't talk, and it can't be too early because then another person can't play. So, because as much as I know other rounds don't really care what time they make their AU players play. I'm not gonna make Brody play at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I love Pathfinder Season 7 too, honestly.
I was about to say
that.
Season 7 topic.
Yes, it is.
Honestly,
Anyway.
we're close enough, you know.
Okay,
We're
wait.
within
I
that.
just want to say one more thing. Like, Grant, do you remember the Ambition Season 18 date voting and how complicated that was? Or because there was because once Brody said he couldn't make it, like the time changed. I think.
I was on a team with Peridot.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What?
Good for you.
Yeah,
Wait,
since
alright.
we fixed the date conundrum.
Alright, here's
Always
a
do
shout.
Saturdays at 3 EST. That always works. That's
Yeah.
it.
Why don't we save this for the Ambition 18 section?
Alright, fine, whatever.
Just a suggestion.
Whoa, way to get
I'll
ahead of yourself,
advertise
bad fan.
Move on to the next round. Let's just keep going.
Alright, well I can actually talk about this now, because I missed talking about my own round when I missed I guess
What
I'll just
was that?
yeah, I was talking fucking bullshit in the chat.
Love you guys.
Alright, so yeah, so I guess I'm probably just gonna repeat everything you guys said about when I wasn't here. But yeah, the Great Frontier UHC Season 4 was originally organised by Swag Llama. I then took it over because no one else in the round could be bothered to, and I really liked the concept, and I like past versions of UHC. So my first season was Season 4, and then after the first attempt of it, Garrett stepped down totally. Like I was co-organizer for the first attempt, and then it became fully my round for that. I've made a bunch of changes, added a bunch of cool people, moved to Discord.
Oh,
well, thanks.
Did you kick anyone?
I haven't actually, but I like when I took over, because obviously I'm taking over a Season 4 recorded round that I hadn't played a season was. I'm in an awkward position of if there was anyone in the round who I didn't like, which I'm not saying there is, because I do actually like the roster of the round. They're nice people. I would just think I don't think I'm really in a position to kick anybody.
Yeah,
like
you are.
I don't know, just an example. Who was there for Season
Especially
1?
If you're having a hard time with people uploading and stuff, that's
No,
know.
that-
Oh yeah,
that's a
uploading I would. I'd
No,
definitely
that's a-
kick someone for
yeah,
not
I
uploading.
think he meant more of like
Personal
he's
things.
organizer.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know like any issues with anyone enough to kick him.
Like
Yeah,
if it was just
the
somebody
issue-
who I didn't get along with, obviously,
Yeah.
like I would, but I don't feel like I can kick somebody because I don't know them. Just because if I wanted to
That was like
organize a
a funny
recorded round where I knew everyone,
Or-
I'd just start my own Season 1. By
Yeah.
taking over the recorded round,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a position where I have to an extent, respect the roster that Garrett spent
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
year
gonna say.
putting together. And I feel like if I then just removed all his OG members because I didn't know them and then added a bunch of my friends, like don't get me wrong,
Also
obviously,
wouldn't be fair to the players,
obviously I have put
because-
my own slant on the roster. I've added a lot of the people who I'm good friends with, but I would never remove. Hello.
Cough
Max.
incredibly loud.
But I would never. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it got to like Season 7 or something, and there was somebody who I was having a consistently hard time with connecting with, then I might let them go. But at the moment, I don't. Even though it's my round and I should have that power, I don't feel like it's respectful for me
Yeah,
to
I agree with that. I don't
remove.
think I'd feel any more comfortable with that if I were in your situation. To be
Yeah.
honest. I don't like removing people that like even from Evo, and I've been organizing it since the beginning. But sometimes you just don't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like on one hand you feel bad, but on the other hand, because they're not gonna be happy about it. But on the other hand, if you have fair reasoning, then it's like you would hope that they would understand that and
Yeah.
what's behind it.
And most of the people that I have removed have been extremely understanding about it. And then some people have just never bothered to message me back at all.
And some people even agreed, like, oh yeah, I should be removed.
Yeah.
So.
Kyle Tiv was someone that I removed, and he completely understood and was very understanding because he knew that
he was like,
he wasn't very good at uploading recorded rounds. Just wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
Didn't the guy have like more than 10K subscribers?
Who?
Yeah.
Kyle? Kyle's very inactive subscribers though.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Because he used to upload Roblox. No, not Roblox.
Club Penguin.
Club Penguin.
I was
Club Penguin. That's where he got a lot of his subs.
I've known him for like 8 years because we used to play Club Penguin like so long ago.
OG.
Nice.
Alright, what's the next round?
What's up next on the dish?
I think we agreed that Cake Core 5 being more of an SMP based round, unless Max wanted to say a few words.
Nothing notable.
Oh boy.
I watch your perspective, if that means anything.
Okay,
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I can tell you're not exactly the most familiar with 1.12, given you just sat in that purple stuff whilst you died.
Listen, I probably should have. Looking back on it, right? Because you know me, right? I play recorded rounds.
Yeah,
I
really?
upload recorded rounds, and that means that I do indeed watch over my footage of my recorded rounds. So when I was looking over this one, I was sitting down on my little computer chair on one Saturday's Eve, and I was looking back at my footage, and I was like, oh man, I really messed up. And I was skipping to the end of my footage, and Mr. James the Douglas, my beloved teammate, died to magic, and I didn't really understand what that meant, but I was just like, well, he's out, he's done, what can I do? And I walked over to his stuff because he was his thick Scottish accent, he was directing me where to go, and I was like, oh, okay,
why is that relevant?
It's over here. And then I walked over to his loot. I see his loot, it's in front of me, I'm bolting for it. All of a sudden this big purple dust rises from the ground, and it pulls me in, and I'm stuck. And I lose health very quickly, and I do die. And I couldn't figure out what happened. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, that's 1.12 for you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I stopped. And then I stopped recording, and I turned off my computer. And that was my Ultra Cake Core Season 5 experience. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Basically, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think I did much of anything, and it wasn't really that great. But I just kind of subbed because I wanted to. Team was fun, but I had no idea what I was doing in a 1.12 end biome. So I kind of died because of my lack of education.
Right, do we want to move on to Ambition Season 18?
Oh,
yeah.
Can't wait to talk about this one.
How did you die this time, Lego?
Well, I haven't died yet.
Oh, okay.
Yet.
Oh, is it not over yet?
No, it's only episode 4. So I just want to say, basically after the most recent episode, there are only 3 people left that haven't been picked, being myself, Birdtree, and Epic Sackville.
I called it. Your last pick.
I'm telling KOP.
Fucking last pick.
Anyway, this is my first ever Mumble round, and
Really?
we'll get into that later. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did a Mumble round before.
Oh,
And
okay,
it
that's
ended
pretty
up-
cool.
It ended up, if you watch it, I have I have a gigantic audio delay, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
it's pretty
Oh,
brutal.
yeah, I noticed you
it's
posted
very
that in
bad.
episode 1.
And when I finally figured out why, because I was getting ready to get rid of my old computer. I'm on a new one now, and I figured out that when I was recording, I started recording Mumble like 2 seconds later than everything else, and for some reason that messed up with my game sound, because ScreenFlow records game sound and
I love
TeamSpeak sound
ScreenFlow.
separately. I like it
Yo,
too,
same.
but
Let me tell you about my ambition.
the season was like, for me so far, it was kind of boring, just being alone while everyone else was talking to friends. But what are you gonna do?
That's where you get a Lego.
They don't even get picked. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. No, your last pick. Basically the thing that happens in my season is I kind of run around. I say hey to Birdtree. And
You told us about that last.
And then I got picked by Peridot because in the spawn of season 18 thing before we started, I ran up to Perry and I'm like, pick me, and he did. So I ended up on that team, and then fun fact about my season: when I'm running to meet up with them, I find a full like half diamond green galaxy and half diamond chippy toothy.
Oh god.
Both enchanted. I'm unenchanted full iron. I was completely visible. They could have seen me. I ran to a forest, dug out a tree, went under it, and they ran literally over me.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
satisfying when you're able to do that too. I've done that before.
Especially since you can hear them
Retards.
talking.
Yeah,
You should have just whispered like "fuck you" as you walked over them and watched them shit their pants.
Retards.
Another thing that happened this season is that if you watch Nye's perspective, he should have died twice.
Oh.
So basically, there was one point where Epic jumped him in his cave, but PvP was off. So Nye gave him a peace offering of, I believe, 5 gold, and he left.
Oh my.
And then in episode 3, Cappy was stalking him for like 10 minutes. Cappy jumps him, and Cappy goes, "Oh." Nye turns around, shits himself, and goes, "Oh my god." There was no peace offering there. Cappy just left. And then, I think 10 minutes later, Nye was chopping down trees. He blows up. Then he's down to 3 hearts. He's like, okay, just continues to chop trees, then blows up again. And then he died. It was possibly the best perspective. And then he's a great filler, as usual.
I was watching the most recent episode 4, and I was kind
It's on the
of
subreddit,
peeking
go check it
around.
out.
Yeah, it is on the subreddit. It was posted recently, so the next episode is actually out tomorrow. So when this podcast is going to be uploaded, check Ambition out in a few hours. It's going to be there.
You're not getting in.
Wait.
But anyways, what I was gonna say is I was watching Bitexel's video because I was kind of hopping. I was kind of hopping around, seeing what people are doing because
were you
one of
my episode.
yeah, I was. One of the positives for me about Mumble recorded rounds is that you get these little quirky interactions with other players that just kind of happen here and there.
I've never played a
and
Mumble game, and I've always wanted to play one. but I can't
Bitexel,
figure it out.
why shortly after he was picked, he's running to his team and he runs into Bobby's team of Bobby, Koki, and Cappy and Sir, and then they're about to kill him because Bobby's like full diamond and Bitexel is full iron unenchanted, and then Cappy says, "Just give us your pants and then we'll let you go," and then Bitexel takes off all of his armor, gives them his full iron armor, and they let him go. So by the end of this episode, he's running to his team completely naked with no gold and nothing on him. I just thought that was entertaining enough to point out. That's what Mumble rounds can get you. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about Bitexel being naked.
Oh. Another thing that happened was I was in my cave episode 2. I was like doing my commentary, and then I hear like in the distance, 90% sure it was Kaoki, "Fuck you, Grant." And, I never heard anyone else until I met up with my team, or I guess Green and Chippy. So I just heard a "fuck you, Grant" out of nowhere.
In episode 2, I just found Jacob on the surface, and for no reason, I gave him like 3 stacks of wood, I think.
I feel like Mumble would just be like very awkward if you're like cave fighting somebody, you jump them, and they're like, "No, please."
Yeah. You get that sometimes, but
I still type in, be like, "No, please, I don't have anything." And the guys are killing me. Like,
I just freaked out.
You're a very fast typer.
Yeah.
I just freaked out for a second because I spilled milk all over my mouse.
They're back to when Dom fell in.
Record around podcast.
Dom, remember when he fell off a building?
Oh yeah, that was a good time. That was my single favorite RR experience.
Yeah. What are you eating, Dom?
I ordered a cheeseburger at the start of the podcast. It just arrived.
Kieran's meaty cock.
Okay.
Cheeseburger is not slang for my roommate's penis. No.
Let's see.
Okay, next RR.
Do you have anything else up on the list for recorded rounds? Any other recorded rounds that exist?
Yeah.
U8C Nations season 2.
At War just came out with their intro.
Hello.
Episode. At War, I like the intro a lot.
Hello. Yeah, it's one of my favorite Sonic intros. It's very good.
If we moved on to At War?
Yeah, because
I thought that song could have been used for something, a different kind of concept round, like something that's scary, something Halloween themed.
Are you implying that World War II is not scary?
World War II is funny, not scary.
Yo, stop! I hate you.
Do you think Pacific Theater is just there's gonna be 2 random explosions on the map out of nowhere? Like 300 diameter explosions, and if you're like within a 500 diameter of it gives you poisoning.
Sounds awful.
The whole game
and it
mode.
lights you on fire as well.
That sounds
I
Wow.
gotta agree with Max. I think this is probably my favorite intro from Sonic. I love the vibes of this one.
Yeah,
the
same.
roster's pretty cool too.
I-
Good
That's
I
my
like-
exact comment. Shut up.
Oh yeah, I love the
Season
vibes on this one.
No,
Season
I
5?
like how when the render came up and then it was like
Story
the
season
same
5.
render was like behind it, but like the like kind of
pops.
faded.
Yeah, that actually scared me.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Grant,
Mark
are you-
uses shaders in this season, so if you
No,
want to see
he
shaders, and he uses a face cam that covers like a sixth of his screen.
Let me check this out. Episode 1 is out. I'm gonna go check out Mark's video.
No, he uses shaders in the intro, so if you want a really good perspective in the intro, watch Mark.
Oh my god, he does. His face cam is huge. That's like a fourth of the screen.
Mark graduated high school. Congrats, Mark.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave
no.
a like on his video. I suggest you do the same.
I like
When I
Mark's
first
video.
saw the
Jesus
intro,
Christ,
the
that's
theme of
huge.
the intro I was really hoping it was like the Pacific Rim mod.
Oh
What
yeah.
giant robots, man.
The rim job mod? No.
I love the
thanks.
rim job mod.
Yep. And that's that war for you.
Wait,
Okay,
did
we're
you
gonna
actually
make
talk
our-
about agency?
No.
Or did you just skip that
not
and
yet.
go
No,
with
the
it
thing
at
we're gonna
all?
do is we're gonna make a prediction. So Jay Rose is gonna win the season of At War, but
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Or-
prediction.
or
Official
I reckon-
prediction.
I reckon
Holy
Mr.
shit.
Sonic fan is gonna win. And the only reason
My
I reckon
kid
Mr.
just
Sonic
got
fan's gonna win, no, this is good logic, is because Mr. Sonic fan is a man with such fluctuating motivation. The only way he'd have had the motivation to make an intro that good is if he won the season.
It's like when Brick
that's
made
my
the
prediction.
WMC 17 and 18 intros.
or Keelan won.
Or
I'll
Oh,
put a
the
couple
fuck?
bucks on Ostro.
I don't know about.
I'm all in on one person.
Electric Cobra.
God
I'm-
damn it, that was my.
I'm all in on Rye Fry, but that's just me. Carry on.
Alright, do we want to move on to agency?
No,
Let's-
I wanna
let's
keep
do
talking
it.
about At War.
Okay, you guys keep talking. You guys, I have to leave out of agency because I gotta pee and I can't wait any longer. BRB.
Alright, fine.
Okay,
Okay.
happy birthday. Good luck. Good luck. Okay,
Confirmed fact
Agency
that
Season
Agency
6
makes
just
women
came out.
pee.
Intro came out. Episode 1 comes out it came out yesterday. Oh.
You know what I didn't like about this season, like at all?
Zfic? Yeah, me neither.
No, not that. There
Um,
was like, okay, so like it's a Mumble season, and that's been happening a lot recently. And do you know what Mumble seasons just don't need?
What?
Teams of 4.
No, someone's perspective where I can hear other people talking, but they're not interacting with the main person's perspective. So it's almost like, I don't know, five.
It's
people
almost like
spectating
it's
at
real
once.
life.
Yeah.
You're walking around and there are people talking,
you know what that's called?
and they're not
Bad
talking
fan
to
spec
you.
Perspective.
Fuck
I'm
off.
not huge on the fact that there was a spec perspective for Mumble
you
and it was still
serious?
linked, but
not.
eh.
Wait,
The whole idea of that was the whole idea of
Wait,
that.
wait,
Yeah,
I know.
What-
No. All I'm
what-
saying is
It's a good
all
idea.
I'm saying is I
No,
tried to
what-
watch
wait,
it.
Wait,
I
can
tried
you
to
hear-
watch it and I
can you
just
hear-
couldn't.
Can you hear other people when you're
Yes, he
spectating?
can,
Yeah.
but they can't hear him.
That's the idea.
That's
Yeah.
Would you not want to watch
Oh,
a
okay,
spectator
that's-
perspective where you can
that's fine, then.
hear the commentary
That's
of the
stupid.
teams?
But then that
Actually-
means you can't commentate yourself unless you want both of them to be inaudible.
I thought they could hear you too.
No, they can't.
Oh, I actually really like that then. That's
I'm
really
muted
cool.
in the Mumble call, so I can listen to
Yeah.
what they're saying while spectating, so I get an actual feel for how the teams are
How they're
doing,
doing.
whilst
that-
getting
that's
to
just a
commentate
personal
on the
thing,
tactics.
though.
You guys didn't-
I
hope
think you didn't give it enough of a shot, personally,
I hope
because
you didn't listen to Ixo and I French kissing in the cave. But...
I don't know
But,
if not giving it a shot means watching the video, but yeah, you kind of get the idea.
No, you need to watch the
Um,
entire video.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
The
I can't
season-
talk much about agency, but I have a riveting perspective for further episodes. So that's definitely something that is
The only-
worth
The only
watching.
thing good about the intro is the beginning part where it's like, "Mom."
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that. Like I had just gotten like 27 hours like awake, and I'm like, whoa. Like, I was like, wow.
What if you die in Mumble?
Die in real life.
You're in a death screen. Can you still talk to them or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So it's until you click respawn, then
Yeah.
you're over.
So if you're a
So
ragey
can't-
cunt,
Yeah, so can't you just like get in the respawn screen and be like, "Fuck you"? For killing
Yeah,
me?
yeah, people have done that.
No, I
No, the
I remember in Out of Orbit 3 I had a little chat with Ice Static after I fell off a building.
yeah, you're like, I'm sorry, I don't
it was
have
City
any
World?
gold.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have any gold, and he was like, ah, man,
It's like,
or whatever.
fuck you.
Wait, was it City World?
It was.
Is Mumble just like you just install the plugin, get the app, and then you can do it? Like, is it that
Yeah.
easy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some
Dang.
people have issues with it because there's a lot of
Yeah, I have a
specific
Mac-
settings that
I
you have
have
to
a Mac.
configure.
I have a
Stupid
Mac and I
pussies.
could never figure out how to do it.
Pussies.
No,
I got it
Mumble's
set up pretty easily
simple.
on a Mac. But then again, I don't think I fixed much. But I set mine up like 2 years ago, and I haven't changed it since. So
Watch Out of Orbit Season 3 if you want to see Phenom say, "Let's go explore."
Watch Out of Orbit Season 3 for the best Out of Orbit intro.
Or if you want to see me give Ice Swift the enchants in episode 1.
Hello.
He won because of that. You're a piece
He
of
did
shit.
win because of that. I
How
don't want
much-
Sloth Beans to win.
How much PvP damage did Swifty take? None? Wow, GG Swifty.
He's a god.
Alright,
Yeah.
do we want to talk about Agency 6 rather than going off topic with
Not
our
really,
Orbit
actually.
theory?
We already
There's
talked
not much of
What
note.
about the
for
game
episode
mode?
one.
I'm not a big
It's Team of 4 Mumble, and you... And
double
you
dates,
can't-
but you don't put the. It's like secret double dates where you know.
Oh, I
that-
think that's a really
that was
clever
really
idea.
cool,
I
actually.
took me so long to figure out because I like hearing reactions of when teams are set and like intros and stuff. And then I knew it was double dates, but I didn't read that it was secret double dates. So I just went to like how not everyone puts the intro in their round.
Yeah.
And so I went to someone's thing and it didn't set the teams. And I'm like, oh, I guess they didn't include it. And then I went to someone else's. I was like, what the heck? And then I had to read the description again. I was like, oh, it's
Well, that was
secret.
really cool for me, especially, and I guess other people too, because when you're going, part of the cool thing about finding people in the game is that you have no idea who the other sets are, so you can find somebody in like a cave per se. Like this isn't spoiling because it happened in episode 1, but Zephic and I were
You're spoiling
caving
to me 'cause
together.
I haven't watched it, so really.
Zephic and I were caving together in the first episode, and we heard Tux in her cave, and we were hoping that Tux had a teammate or something, so we could figure out who his set was. Because we know everybody knows the team of 2s in the game,
Yeah.
but nobody
They're
knows.
colored on tab, right? Yeah.
No, they were.
They weren't in the game, but they were for the entire pregame.
And the intro,
So-
yeah.
Yeah. But like we were trying to find his other teammate if he was around. But I mean that's also comes with more strategies. Like the reason me and Zephic caved together was because we didn't want to be stuck with Nintendo and Pi, because that would make other teams know that we're a team of 4, and we didn't want people to know who we were with.
And
We wanted that
literally
to be like
every
a
team
separate
did
thing.
that. There was no teams who caved with cross partners.
Yeah.
Every single team caved in their team of 2s, apart from I believe one team. Daft, Shoop, Tux, and Talon caved as solos.
I feel
Yeah.
like
But
Mumble
every
would
other
say
team
Mumble
caved
would
in
be
their
really
set
cool
team
as
of
well.
2s.
Has that ever been a round game mode?
The
We
beautiful Distantia 4, I believe, did
Like,
Love at First Sight Mumble.
I'm bad at remembering stuff like that, like intros and like.
Go back
game
to
mode.
the Stantia 4.
Not a lot of memorable stuff from that. Dom can talk about it if he
Jacob,
dearly
please.
I
wishes.
would prefer to not talk about it. Thank you.
Oh god, the Stantia 4, yeah.
I think that's the only Love at First Sight Mumble though. I think.
I think that's quite a cool
Mhm.
combination though.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
I think that's pretty cool.
Would have been better if it was a little bit first damage.
But I think at the
yeah.
time there were a couple of First Sight ones because like at the time it was like New Dawn 8 just did it. There was
Addiction-
MB4 3
Addiction
did it. Yeah, Addiction
4?
4.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of Love at First Sight. Actually, no, Addiction 4 was Mumble Love at First Sight too, wasn't that?
I'm
I'm not
sure.
gonna lie, I just thought of a game mode and I'm writing it down, so maybe
Right, well we know
Where's
it's
the pen?
Mumble.
I need a pen.
Mama.
Right.
That's
I
a later
still just
topic.
lost Mumble.
Is that it for the roundup?
Yeah.
Let's move
yeah.
on to the next one.
Alright, so topic number 2 of this fantastic episode is When Miners Cast, Season 5.
I actually didn't watch it.
No,
'cause
I
wasn't
will- I
on-
was
I
wasn't
watched
on
getting
when
Tyler
it was
pissed.
being
die,
streamed.
Dibs. I watched him die, and I was very much screaming at him from my bedroom, saying, "Ha! You died to a fucking girl. You suck."
Not just one girl, but the team of 2 girls.
So that was also Love at First Sight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I thought was great that
Yeah,
18
I feel
and
like
BB found each other.
I actually think it's really cool, like the idea of a round doing like also like streamed rounds, but like still having like somewhat the same roster. Even though weren't there like a good amount of like subs or whatever? Like,
No,
not
there was
subs,
only
but,
3
like,
guests,
yes,
weren't there?
there were
Oh, they
3
were?
guests.
Okay.
But there was only 11 players.
Yeah.
So, which I wish there had been
I think-
more, just because it would
Who
have
was
been nice
stuck
to
as
have
a
more.
who was stuck as a solo then?
Zuria.
Oh dang.
Only solo the game.
Zuria
Yeah.
Aw.
with a broken arm at half a heart.
Yeah.
Solo.
She took so much PV damage. I wasn't there to watch it, but
No,
there were
I
a lot of
wasn't.
people who uploaded their full footage, like
Joey did.
Brick, Dibs, Joey, Flues, Frost. When I came back, because I was out for the day, and when I came back, I watched Frost's full perspective, and then I hopped over to a couple others. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
However,
everyone
I
who
think
did YouTube streaming had their full episode up on their channel. So that was
Yeah,
nice.
I think they could benefit from a larger roster next time, but I do
Yeah.
think for a streamed recorded round.
Because I thought the last one was so long ago.
Oh,
That's
it was a
because the
really long
last
time
one
ago.
was
It was over
live,
18
they
months
had to
ago.
cancel.
Oh wait, why
They
did they
didn't
cancel?
have it. They didn't have. I think all the organizers couldn't make it. I think.
Yeah,
So Homeless was on
Fairyberg and Dibs all couldn't make the
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
Apparently Frost and Flues built a trap at 0-0.
They almost made it work too. Flues was like 4 blocks off of getting it on Dibs, but it was close.
Because I remember I joined Frost stream and I'm like, hey guys, and they said, Grant, we built a trap at 0-0.
That your impression of him?
Now, that was my impression of Frost, and then what's his face? Flues is like, Grant, is that Lethal Winter? Oh no, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, because
no.
they did that like Draft Crafters for Sid Scottish Sand Trap thing.
Oh,
where, like
did
you activate
they?
it, and I mean, yeah,
That's
it didn't
so
work,
cool.
but they spent a lot of time like digging out the whole thing and making it work and stuff. And the trap did like fall, like it worked as planned. They just
Yeah.
didn't catch anybody in it.
That's why they break the block right below it, and then it all falls.
Yeah.
That's how you do. You can put a chest and then like, activate it or whatever. But
Yeah,
that's
by
so,
opening
like,
the chest and
That's
it
so.
activates it.
What's the word like? Like I forgot what word. Like the word like it's gonna predict it. That's the word I'm thinking of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something
That's
like
why-
that.
Actually, that
Yeah.
trap, me, Dom, and Lego were gonna do that in the original attempt of Satamina 8 because before Sonic, because like our team for the failed Satamina 8 was me, Dom, Kazmic, and Sonic. Before Sonic got subbed onto our team, it was me, Dom, Lego, and Katie, and we were just
Yeah.
like, this team is so fucked. Like this team is genuinely shit. So
That's
we,
because of Lego.
yeah, obviously. So we were just like, right, we're gonna build traps at 0-0, and then Katie got subbed with our team, and Sonic got put onto it. I was like, meh. And
Best
then,
recorded round ever.
yeah,
So we have
that
to,
was
we have to actually play.
yeah. But yeah, I thought the roster was disappointingly small. I mean, not that I haven't watched any of it. I've got to admit, I wasn't around for it, and I haven't gone back and watched any of the full perspectives since. But I know the winners.
For WMC works though because they're not competitive
Yeah.
at all. Players.
I don't know,
so
but I
it's
think-
like-
Brick.
It's not like they're gonna be looking to end the game.
I swear
as
Brick
fast
died
as they can.
first.
Yeah.
Rick was
Brick
first
did
death,
die
yeah.
first,
I think the more
old
I
boy had a
think what-
flame bow, right?
Flame wasn't enabled though, but everybody like tons of people had flame bows.
do they have absorption on WMC?
I don't think
no,
so.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the guests. I mean, I like Talon. Talon's a good guy, but
Talon.
I thought he was a weird choice because obviously
Talon
like
3?
yeah, because obviously like Joey and Phoebe are both active streamers, pretty close to a lot of people in that group, and I thought they were perfect fits for a live streamed version of the round. Talon, you sort of just felt like Tommy couldn't make it, therefore
Oh, I'm pretty
Talon
sure.
playing his place, because Tommy's like the only person in that round that Talon's really close friends with. Tommy was just promoting his stream on Twitter for like the whole thing.
Even if that's the case, I excuse it because, to be honest, the entire roster for that was all full of good, entertaining personalities, and I think Talon fits that marker, whether he's close to the group or not. And
I
as
just
long as
felt
he
he
provides
felt
a
bit
good
out of
perspective,
place. I'm sure he did. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like if you like, I understand the idea of bringing in guests for that, but I feel like if you're going to bring in guests, it makes sense if you do it people who are good fits for the concept. And
Well,
obviously for a live streamed recorded round, Joey and Phoebe are both amazing choices.
they've done that
Whereas I
before
swear
in
it was
previous
Talon's
seasons.
like second stream or something like that, and it didn't really seem to fit too well.
Like, if you look at some of the guests they had on for prior seasons, they had zero correlation to the actual WMC, but they still came in anyways. Engal being a
Yeah,
good
you're probably
example of
right,
that.
but I suppose just because the other two were such perfect
Mm-hmm.
fits, it sort of makes you look at him and think, well, maybe that
Little
was
bit of a
a
outcast.
weird
Yeah, a little bit of an odd
choice.
one out.
Well, I mean, if you were to put a theme on WMC, it would most likely be older community members.
Commentary
around-
over PvP,
commentary
yeah,
over PvP.
definitely.
So you're saying that the two guests were perfect because they stream and they fit in with the group well. But most of the WMC people who play don't really stream.
Yeah, but obviously the rest of them were in there because they're in WMC.
Yeah,
Which obviously
exactly.
you're
Well,
gonna have
exactly.
some WMC members in
So, a
WMC
perfect
Live.
fit to fit in with WMC wouldn't necessarily just be somebody who streams and gets along with the group.
No, I'm not saying that'd be the only, factor which would make someone a good fit for it, but I just felt like Joey doing daily streams was probably a good choice. And considering every single season everyone's like, where's Joey? Like, also we have confirmation that Joey gets added if he wins, so expect to see the Sonic Joey in season 23.
And Neon Tiger being
About
added
time,
too.
really.
That's happening.
Congrats, Neon, for joining WMC now.
Yeah,
Happy
he's
birthday,
finally
Neon.
added.
At long last.
Happy birthday, Neon. Yeah.
But
Shout
yeah,
out to
I'm
that
not trying to
Tiger.
like shit on Talon at all because he's a cool, a cool guy.
I think you said it in like a respectful way.
But I just think
It was just a
Yeah.
bit odd, to see him in there. It was unexpected. I think that's a good way to describe it.
But I think the way that, like, the wording that Fairy used on the post, like, I don't think it was Fairy even who posted it because he wasn't the
It was
organizer.
Tyler. I was Dibs, yeah.
Yeah, he. What
Yeah,
the
it
fuck?
was.
Oh my god, my iPad's making some weird noises.
Yes, we heard
What
that.
the fuck?
That was my iPad, ladies and gentlemen. The fuck? I'm just trying to find it. Like, they said something like, and the roster, a couple of people are gonna make you think, what the fuck? Why were they added? And I know a lot of people. I think a couple of people were saying, oh, it's just gonna be a bunch of like random people who don't fit in with the group at all. So I think, the choices were a lot less out of the box than a lot of
Yeah.
people were expecting. Like, oh my, what the fuck? Jesus
Can you-
Christ!
Can you just
Please
not
tend
have
to
the
that.
iPad?
Taking that to the shop in a sec.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not at 10 p.m, but we'll look at that tomorrow.
24/7.
RR Roundup.
I think we're off that now. The
Yeah.
RR Roundup thing.
Yeah, it
Oh my
sounded
God.
like it went well. I mean, the problem with the live
Oh, I
stream
agree
recorder
with
is you
that,
can't
yes.
redo it. What happens. If there's technical difficulties, you just have to cancel. And
Yeah.
you're kind of being put on the spot. You can't have like 2-hour delays because you got people actually waiting to watch it live. And
The only thing
stuff
that
like
kind
that.
of caught me off guard about, like, actually when I was watching it, that for a Dungeoneering recorded round, especially WMC, there
Oh, I
was
forgot it was Dungeoneering.
zero PvE deaths.
Really?
But the last time WMC did Dungeoneering in season 13, they had like 10 PvE deaths. in the
Zombies
first, like, 2
alone
episodes.
killed like 8 people in 3
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, just funny comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Dungeoneering is a very weird game mode because like you either get like tons of books or you get like absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Okay, it's quite unbalanced in a way. Like, it's cool and it
it
fits.
takes you a
WMC.
really long time to get full iron too, because you just have to get it from chests.
I
think
disagree. People always make a big thing about iron being so rare. I've never struggled to
never
get full
get
iron
iron.
in
I don't think it's a
Dungeoneering.
big deal.
I never get
it's
full
not
iron.
a big
It's very
deal. I
weird
just
for
think
me.
I think it's hard. I mean, obviously it's harder than normal.
Well,
but
people
I
can
think
get
it's
full
so
iron,
easy.
like they can breeze a cave in 2 minutes and get full iron, but with this it's more of like a struggle,
Yeah, you
because
gotta
I
search
think
over
to
the
actually
chest.
find iron ore, I believe it's as rare as diamonds, or just maybe just higher.
No,
I think
No,
was,
it's
like,
not
the
as
rate.
rare as
No,
diamonds.
they
That's
swap
It was
crazy.
something.
I think like maybe it's like lapis or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lapis would make sense.
Yeah, that
I know
actually,
that-
yeah.
But
I
the,
know
the,
they-
the veins are smaller
They
than lapis.
they like swapped everything. I know diamonds are like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
This is as rare as
There,
diamonds, probably.
there's some TNTs, also some bedrock. As
Oh
well.
yeah.
Mm.
So you
Oh,
can
yeah,
go-
that
you
was-
can get out, you can go out of the void if you
Yeah,
want
that was
to.
something that was mentioned during the match. Was like Tommy halfway through was like, by the way, there's no bedrock, layer, so don't fall into the void.
Jesus.
like, oh.
Fairy and Frost, Frost and Flues, so many F's, made a sand trap that just went straight into the void.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There'd be no hope. That's a good
Signs
idea.
the just put signs along the whole thing.
Yeah.
Inevitable doom.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
all with the live, the WMC?
Yeah, I think
I think
The
so.
one miners.
Okay, so we're gonna move on now. This is a topic that I think we've done before, but I think the actual answer to this question is going to be a bit different to when we last did this. We're going to talk about referral methods, because obviously, can I start this one off?
Yeah.
Like,
Go ahead.
oh fuck, sorry. Okay, no. And like in the past, like rounds, obviously the referral systems have been pretty, private. You'll give referrals to people who are maybe friends within the group, and
Or people that like want us.
yeah, they might actually actively DM you themselves and say, "Oh yeah, can I get a vote?" And they may say yes, they may say no. Obviously, it's no guarantee that you'll actually get into the round, but if you wanted to be added to a round, you basically had to go out of your way to say that you want to get added. And it sort of was better for the organisers because they meant it's like, you've had the initiative to come and see me about it, expressing interest for a vote. Whereas nowadays, you see a lot of rounds doing like this tweet if you want a referral. Not being funny, it doesn't take a lot of effort to like a tweet. Whereas if I want to be added to a round, then I actually have to message the organizer.
Yeah.
Can I get a vote?
Well, I know.
Look,
Okay, can I like chime in or?
Yeah, no, go for it.
So what I like is I like how you can sorry, I'm stuttering so much. I like the Google polls or whatever. It's like the yes, no, abstain or whatever. That's my favorite way to do it. And then I think more of liking the tweet is just. I'm guessing what they do, I mean, I'm not organizers, like, you look through, you find the people that are, like, the most reasonable, and then you just, like, put them up for, like, whatever the system is, like, yes, no, or, like, whatever that is. Is that what they do usually?
Yeah.
So obviously they don't put, like, all, like, 90 people or whatever, that's, like,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Sonic and Lemon both did it for Agency and Bit separately, and I talked to both of them in TS, and they've said that they just kind of weed through the likes to see who they think would be good fits, but the problem with that is that Twitter doesn't let you see all the likes.
I think there's a way though, like TweetDeck or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Is TweetDeck let you? Okay.
the whole thing about the like for a vote, I've never seen it as like to get a vote. It's just I want to see who's interested, just to kind of gauge who I could get that I haven't thought of before.
And I think that's good. I think that's fine.
If you want to do that, like make a tweet and like that tweet for a vote, you should make sure you say like this tweet to be considered.
Yeah, to be considered.
Because
or if you would like, there's no, you don't need to make it look like there's any guarantee, because you could look at it as like a very negative thing or a positive thing. Because the negative thing is there's no separating between the people who are genuinely serious about it and the people who are just liking. It's like, why not? It's like. If I wouldn't go out of my way to ask an organizer for a vote for a round unless it was a round I actually wanted to be in. If I'm scrolling through Twitter and a round that I don't really fit in, but I quite like the look of, says, like this tweet, if you'd like a vote, I might like it and just be like, why not? What have I got to lose here?
That's what I did with Fission, because I was reading it as like to be Fission. I was like, alright, this round's pretty cool. Like the roster is like really nice, and I liked it, and I got in, so I was like, oh wow, it's surprising. Like it wasn't really, I was just more of like surprised, but it was like I wanted to be in it and I didn't expect to, so. And I wouldn't have messaged him if it wasn't, like I wouldn't have messaged him on my own. I just saw the tweet.
And that's the thing.
So,
like that's not I'm not like criticizing you by saying this, but I'm just saying that they could have added somebody, say, who like actively would have wanted to be in the round. You got in because I wouldn't mind being in the round, but like you said, it wasn't something that you were that passionate about to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas if you're passionate,
it's not that I don't like it.
If you're
like what was said was if like as organizer you're not hanging out with every single member of your recorder round 24/7, you don't always know who they talk to on their own when they're not hanging out with you. So obviously I'm not going to spoil, but two of the new people for Evo, I think people are going to be very surprised that they just aren't going to be expecting them at all. And I'm actually really excited about it because I think that in the end they are going to be very good additions to the round. But it is very, very surprising because I personally do not hang out with them. They both have access to my TS, but they don't come in too often. So I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I can see how people could see like that is not necessarily a great way to get quality members of your round that are gonna stick around for a while. And obviously with Evo I have had that problem where I add people who I think are gonna be good fits and who get votes and whatever else, but they don't stick around because they lose interest in Minecraft or the community or whatever.
I mean, I get what Bad Friend's saying. 'Cause I'm sure there's someone like I'm talking about fishing here, but I'm sure there's someone that like really wants to be in it like really bad that like like didn't get a chance to like the tweet or whatever. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Can I chime in the way that
No, you can't.
I've
Yeah, go.
So the way that I did it for Out of Orbit, I don't think we're ever going to be doing referrals again, just because we're not going to have many seasons anymore, and I think the roster is pretty capped off, and it's good as it is. But the way that we did it for the past couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, is it was sort of like a processed thing, so there were different steps to it, but I liked it because there was a way for Sir and I, as organizers, to control who is like considered for the round, and then the people in the round can vote. So like there's an aspect of the organizers get a say, but also the players get a say.
Yeah.
So basically the thing we would do is I think for the last 2 seasons I would say something on Twitter like hey, we're going to be opening up the referrals again. If you would like a link to our form, just message me or reply or whatever. I don't remember. Basically, the thing we did was we typed up a form, like a Google form, and I like it more than just, hey, like this tweet, because there's more. It's more in depth, because like the things we would do specifically would be like, what's your IGN, what's your name, why do you want to be in Out of Orbit? And then, like, one of the specific things I'd like to put in is, do you like astronomy, blah, 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 because sometimes you find interesting people that have a lot to do with astronomy. That's why Frostbreath was added for Season 4, because of his enjoyment of astronomy. But that's a good way to sort of weed out people that don't really have an interest and just want to be in a recorded round from people that actually, like, have an interest in what the round is about,
Yeah,
and the people in there.
Especially since the idea of Out of Orbit is so like I don't
Unique.
like specific, I guess. So it's like if you like astronomy, then like it'd be cool to
Yeah, I
like
think
be in
that's
it.
good.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the thing we would do is after we would have it up for like 2 weeks, Sir and I would read through every single one of them, and we would pick, I don't know, up to like 12 of the how many we got, and then the round. Everybody in the round got a vote, and they could vote on either yes, abstain, so they don't really have an opinion, no, and super no.
Oh,
so
don't
super
talk
no.
to me about fucking strong nose.
So strong no would basically like, yeah, me and this person personally have issues, but and like say if someone got 2 strong no's in the votes, they would be like 2 valid strong no's. They would be exempted from the votes, but I think I think it was a good way to do it, because like I said, you get to find people that may have an interest in astronomy, or they fit well with the roster, or overall they just have like a passion to join it. And then Sir and I, or any organizer, if they decide to use that forum, can help weed out people that they personally wouldn't want in their round, because obviously the organizer spends a lot of time, and just to have someone that maybe the round would like but you don't like personally playing is sort of like stepping on the amount of effort you put into it. But and then the round obviously gets a say in who's in as well.
What I do is I do recommendations for the round, where all the players in the round get to recommend people they think would be good fits, or their friends, or whoever, and I'll put everyone up for vote. And I think I'm gonna pause on that idea for next season, but because I did get some people where I got 28 people that went up for vote last season. 8 of them I knew for a fact that I was not willing to add, because either I had personal problems with them, or I knew that if they got in, that it would be bad.
And why put them up for a vote?
Yeah, I don't understand
that. And the reason I do is because in the past, a certain member was giving me an extremely hard time about not putting up someone they had recommended, and it was very hard because I didn't want to tell them I dislike this person very strongly, and that's why, because I didn't want, because that person didn't necessarily know that I disliked them, and I didn't want to cause drama there, so I just put everyone up, whatever, who gets in. And I'm glad I did do that, because of those 2 people that got in, I didn't expect, that I think actually are going to be good fits. But for example, Vinny and I are 2 of the only people who voted no for a very specific person that I thought was going to be a very bad idea to add, because I don't want another 5 game streak where someone wins every season, and that was definitely a potential with the person that could have potentially been added.
Right, yeah,
So I decided that it would be best in the long run to not add that person. Plus, I felt personally that I didn't think that they actually had a lot of interest in the round itself. So I thought that wouldn't necessarily be a quality ad that would be around for a while.
Yeah,
I definitely pull those strings, and I'm willing to not add someone even though they get the votes, because I don't in the end think that they're going to be a good idea. And sometimes I'm just curious to see where the votes fall with that person, because while I may not necessarily care for somebody, if every single person votes yes, I'm willing to like
give
take
them
a
a
step
try.
back from my personal feelings and think maybe this is best for the round. Maybe I just don't know them well enough. Maybe like my couple of bad interactions with them were bad, like
one-offs.
representations of their character, because people do stupid shit sometimes, especially since the community is made up of a lot of teenagers. Teenagers do stupid shit, and as an adult sometimes it's hard for me to remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would seem a little misleading to me if I was in a recorded round where somebody put up votes for like a bunch of people, and then they already knew to themselves, oh yeah, that person is not getting added no matter what, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm probably not going to do that anymore for future seasons, and just tell people I'm sorry, but I'm not putting that person up for vote.
Yeah.
You're just going to
Because
have
there's
to
a
deal
lot
with
of
it.
people that everyone knows they're not going to get in because they don't fit in, or
Yeah, and I was
they don't
actually,
like how
but
they-
I was,
whatever.
then again, I was surprised that like for this last season that I put a bunch of some people up for vote that I personally thought would be cool to add there. You know, the good friends of mine, I thought they'd be good, but they got a lot of no's. Like, oh my god, I was very overwhelmed by one person in particular. I was just very surprised because I didn't realize that so many people had a problem with them. So there are times like that too where I definitely have to put my feelings aside about the person and think about the round in general.
Oh yeah,
And
because
the same thing with removing people, like, yeah, everyone may like that person. Like, for example, Kyle, you know, everyone loved Kyle, but at the end of the day, like, I have to do what's best for the round in general, not just the player's happiness with that person. So, and if he's uploading late every single episode, I have to harass him on a daily basis to upload. It's just too stressful, and I shouldn't have to deal with that, especially because I work full-time, and I was going to school at the time for, you know, a grad school degree, and I just did not need all that extra stress.
Oh yeah,
because of one
uploading
person
is
who's
like
And
the
he-
one
lazy.
thing that
And
I
he
think
doesn't-
the organizer should have ultimate thing of, like, you know, even if they're liked by everyone in the round, if they're consistently causing the organizer issues with uploading, causing them stress, then they do not deserve to.
And
Agreed. And even with
that-
this last season of Evo, I actually researched people. Like, Grant, you know this because I asked you about a player. Well, someone else asked you about a player for me. But I wanted to know some people's upload rates and how they did them the other rounds. Because if, you know, one person is giving an
You asked me about
organizer a
someone as
ton
well.
of problems with uploading, then I'd rather not have to deal with that as well. One person, for example, I'm obviously not going to name them, a lot of yeses on the vote very clearly would have gotten in, but found out that they have a very bad upload history of uploading on time and organizers having to harass them to upload, so I just decided that it was best to not add them.
Diana, you should try my system. This is different from like the referrals, but uploading. So the thing we do is I think we give like a month and a half to 2 months to upload, and then the rule is you have to have your entire footage uploaded before a week before episode 1.
Yeah.
And if we don't, or if you don't, we kick you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And
That's
I've been
worked
trying to
really
get more
well,
strict
though.
about that,
It works
'cause Van
every
does
time.
the same thing. Vanguard does the same thing, where they're extremely strict about uploading, and they're extremely strict about being to the game on time when you're actually recording the round, to the point where if you're on time, if you're there, if the game's at 7 p.m. and you show up at 7 p.m., you're not playing. By then, we've already replaced you. You're not playing. Sorry. See you later. They actually had to do that for a season, a scrap season. So that's what Jamie told me.
I think that's a little bit
extremely
extreme,
strict
but
about it.
I'm not. My kind of stance on that is like, if somebody's gonna be just a couple minutes late, I don't see why you just can't wait for them. That is, unless it's in a direct problem with somebody else who's like, oh, I've had situations before where I say I can play this, but you know, I'd have to leave like shortly after meetup or whatever, stuff like that. So I could see why that would be a problem. But if nobody else has an issue with it, I don't see.
That's usually my thing, is that people we need to start on time with Evo usually.
Yeah.
That we have this time slot and that we have to start on time, otherwise people aren't going to be able to play. So we are I do try to be strict about that, but sometimes it's hard, especially but with the uploading thing, there is, you know, I give Tragic an exception for not uploading late, like he doesn't ever really upload late, but getting me his link to the last episode, because he works a job where he works 50 to 60 hours a week.
Oh
He
yeah.
is exhausted, and he
God.
has a horrible memory where he does forget stuff. So I do give him personally a little bit of slack, because I know that he'll upload. Dita is somebody who can't really play right now because of her computer and her internet right now, but she would always get me her link. I never had to worry about Dita being late, ever. She's never late for a single episode, but she did sometimes have to give me an episode a day or the day before or something like that, because her internet, but I never really had to worry about her because she was always on time.
Yeah, the out of orbit like style thing though that Grant and Sir have been doing of like the 2-week thing has worked like really well, because it means that I think there's only been one case which did result in some bad blood for that certain person, who uploaded them literally just hours before the deadline hit.
Yeah. That's so frustrating.
But yeah, it's worked really well because everybody understands how serious it is. Just like, get your footage up. And with the amount of time you're given, a month to 2 months, unless you have like a valid excuse, way more than you would normally need to upload footage.
Yeah,
like 7 episodes, that's way more than that.
For Evo, I give a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I give a couple of weeks, but usually that's because art takes so long.
Oh yeah, understandable.
You know, there is such a huge gap. I think Vader, and Vinny, we took 2 months to upload.
Yeah.
Last season we recorded, I think in February, and didn't upload till April because we had to wait on art, and then we had some intro problems where we didn't know who was making. I had Len making the intro originally, but he was very overwhelmed with Bit stuff.
I feel you, sister.
And Bit was already so late on uploading because they had recorded around the same time as us, and they still had no chance of uploading anytime soon.
The 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. I felt so bad. Len was so stressed out. But yeah, so I don't like people having to sit on their footage for that long, because I know some people do have a hard drive space problem where they
I know what that's like.
Months at a time. So I try and
I can't hold on
get that
long.
uploaded as soon as possible. I'm also extremely impatient. I want to upload right away. I want to record right away, and it always ends up being 3 or 4 months before we're able to upload the next season still, because we're usually never able to record right away.
I've had people who will hand me their episode when Sir Tamina was still around for season 7. There were a couple people that would every single time give me their episode an hour before, and I was just like, oh my god, it was
so frustrating.
And they didn't have any reason for it either. It's just they just kept saying, I've got time, I can do it, and they gave it to me on time, but it's I'm somebody who uploads the second I get the intros out. I'm grinding uploading on my computer, so unless you have a valid reason, I get kind of pissed off with you.
I will always give.
A season where he had that problem where the day after we had the intro, his computer just completely died, and it was I mean, what are you gonna do about that?
For me,
expect
with
him to upload that
organising,
24 hours, so
I had to get a whole new computer.
The time between the season being recorded and the intro being finished has absolutely no influence on the time I give to record. If the intro takes 2 days to be made, I give 3 weeks from the day the intro is released to upload. If the intro takes 2 months, I will give 3 weeks from the second the intro is completed to release. I will always give 3 weeks exactly, no more, no less. You have 21 days. If you don't give me your footage on time, you're out. I don't mind if people upload the day before. I don't set you must be uploaded a week before, fully uploaded. I know that would probably cause a lot less stress if I did, but I'm not that strict with it.
Yeah,
but I don't see, because I've probably said this logic many times, but the fact is, giving long periods of time to upload is only giving an advantage to the people who will always leave their footage up to the last minute. The people who upload their footage on time are going to upload their footage on time, whether you give 2 weeks or 2 months. It's for the people who always upload at the last second. If you got someone who uploads an hour before, if you give 2 weeks, they will upload an hour before, but 2 weeks. If you give them 2 months, they'll still upload an hour before, but just 2 months more than you need. I don't see the point of giving 2 months for people to
so
upload.
Frustrating for me too sometimes, because I work, and because the way my job is, I don't always know what time I'm getting out of work, so I could be working until 1 p.m. or I could be working till 10 p.m. for all I know. Like, I could be working a 14-hour day. So, like, it's very frustrating for me because people don't understand that I need the link the day before. I need it, or at least by 8 a.m. the next morning. You cannot send me in the middle of the day because I have to post that episode, and I can't get your links any other way to post them onto the doc. I really can't do it from my phone, not that easily. It's very hard to get YouTube links on your phone because it usually pops up with the actual video right away, and you can't really copy the link from your phone. So that can be very frustrating too, to the point where I have to have even sometimes newcomers post the episode to the subreddit because of work.
I've seen like rounds that have that. I've seen newcomers actually having to do it quite a lot. One thing I've
because of my work.
Yeah, one thing I've like sort of considered doing, which I'm not sure, like, because putting the links in the episode format can just be a bit of a hassle, especially if it's somebody gives it to you last second. I've been thinking, if you just, rather than like making the Reddit post, having it like a link on the Reddit post, and then when someone gives you your link, adding it to the post, have a doc that has the Reddit post format just on it, and then then the players add their own links to the doc, so that when you get home you can just copy and paste that link, and everyone's already added their own episodes to it.
I have a Google Doc that everyone has access to edit on the subreddit, and everyone can just post their episodes there if they're uploading at the last second.
Well, no, but do they link it to the format themselves, or do they just comment the video on the post?
No, they actually link it in the doc. Put it in the spot that it needs to be on the match post.
I've had to do episodes before, but the way that most of my rounds operate is that, you know, some of them they use Google Docs, and some of them you just comment on the Reddit posts on the subreddit. If you comment on the Reddit post, which is honestly my favorite method of doing that, because that means that with the Reddit post, if you use God, what's the name of that? It's like the Reddit thing that like allows you to get like better Reddit stuff.
Oh yeah.
Res. Yeah, if you have Res, you can just get the direct source and just copy all the text from the updated post on the subreddit. So it means if you have to do the post last minute, you can just grab the post and just copy it onto the main Reddit. Like, it's really easy to do that. It's quick.
No, I'm not a fan of episode dumps on subreddits. I just think having a Google Doc where you have a space, a little box, and you can just put your episode in is just such a more organized.
It looks clean to me when you go to the Reddit episodes and you can see all the links filled in before it releases.
You think it seems cleaner to have people commenting their episodes on a Reddit post and having it in a little box on a Google Doc? You think it looks cleaner than that?
Yes, I do.
I think the reality situation is just
it just
not
doesn't.
Everyone does it.
It objectively doesn't. You're just objectively wrong.
It objectively doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It's in a little box. It objectively doesn't.
Because each episode has its own post, and it makes it easier for you to post if you need to. If the organizer isn't away or if somebody else isn't away, you can do it yourself if you need to. It's all there. It's easier.
And on the doc, it's the same thing on the doc. It's objectively easier on the doc.
I think it's cleaner on the Google Doc. I just don't think it's better. Like, I mean, I don't think the other one's better either. Like, they're just both easy. Just put whatever. I don't have a reference.
I think
personal preference,
for me,
boy.
The Google Doc method is better because it's a lot. For the Google Doc, is a lot easier to see. Like,
who's uploaded?
You can see all at once.
Because if you have
episodes up.
If you have episode dumps, you have to read through the comments to see who has uploaded. If you have a Google Doc, you can just see, oh, this person's missing these episodes.
I can just skim through the little and see little blue
skim
links,
through it,
and if there's no little blue link, I can say,
yeah, but what if the organizer
like
hasn't added it yet?
Yeah, but if they haven't added it, then they're not a good organizer. Easy peasy. There you go. Or it's in the comments.
Or they just haven't gotten around to it yet. I'm not sitting 24/7 spamming refresh on the Reddit waiting for players to link.
I'm not saying 24/7.
All right, we'll move on from this.
All right.
Probably a good idea.
I think
There's
so.
still referrals.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Right, we're gonna talk about Mumble. All right, so do you guys think Mumble at the moment is being overused?
Not necessarily.
No.
You don't?
Nah, because I think it's fun. I do understand that a lot of rounds are using it, and it kind of. But I don't think. I think it does make the game more interesting, and I think that it makes it more humorous, because I know personally, watching, I can't remember which Ambition season it was, watching Above's perspective, him backstabbing somebody and screaming something out of nowhere was just the funniest shit.
I'm winning a season!
It's a classic.
I think it's used a lot, but I think it's fun, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it being overused.
in my opinion, as long as you use Mumble, as long as you don't make Mumble the main event of
I
your
agree with
season,
that.
it's fine. You can use Mumble as an add-on, like a little side dish to like the main course, and it works fine because
Oh no!
Mumble.
Please don't compare recorded rounds to food.
No. It's important because if a recorded round comes out and they say, "Look, guys, we've got this big, great thing for this season. We're gonna Mumble." It's like people are a bit tired of it at this point. Not to say it's a bad thing, 'cause I love playing Mumble and I love watching Mumble recorded rounds, but just it won't wow people as a main thing. You can tag it alongside something else and it can be fun, but I think people can still release Mumble rounds and they don't have to worry about an overlap as long as they make it interesting and unique. That you can't just do Mumble.
The Mumble
Right.
thing is very similar to. There have been previous phases in the past where a lot of recorded rounds have come out with similar or the same game modes. But I think Mumble is different in that you can use it. It's good to combine with other game modes to enhance how they play.
Agreed.
Because you
It's
can
an
have, you can have one,
enhance
you
and
can
not
have
a
one,
game mode in its own right.
Like
can have-
Stranded, for example.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
have one game mode that's used in multiple rounds, and it wouldn't change between rounds because it's just the same game mode. You can't really enhance it. But with Mumble, each round can have Mumble, but then have something else which changes how the Mumble ends up being played. Which I think I think with the amount of rounds going around with Mumble, yeah, it's a bit. There's a lot of rounds with Mumble, but
Like with
they're
Stranded, the
being
Mumble's
handled
actually
in
used to
different ways.
identify who the player is, not just where they are.
It changes strategy.
Yeah.
I like
Different
Mumble.
rounds.
I like Mumble because it's one of those things where multiple rounds could use it, but I won't get tired of it because it is unique to the point where it can be used over and over again. Like Battle Royale to Stranded, even though they're separate one-time RRs, they came out fairly close to each other, I do believe.
Yeah.
Like a couple of months, and it was near the same concept. And it wasn't like, okay, they're doing this again. I found it very entertaining.
Yeah, you gotta kind of make it stand out because, as I said, if you just do Mumble, I'm not gonna say nobody's gonna care, but
It would be
works.
the same thing as doing a vanilla season back to back to back.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets old after a while.
I
Yeah.
also like that Mumble takes UHC, which is at times a very serious and competitive thing, and it adds a bit of fun to it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Having a conversation with the person you're trying to kill it's good for a viewer's perspective. Because it's like I'm not just watching two people. I don't have to go watch this person's episode to know what their take on it was. I can just watch this one episode and see how Kazmic reacted when Lethal Winter killed him.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Talking about
Alright,
Mumble.
but if I use another example,
Oh.
because obviously, Mumble is quite a typical one-time record around game mode, and I think when it's sort of using this as an enhancer for a one-time concept, that I haven't got a problem with. And then, if a normal recorded round just does, the odd Mumble season, also not got a problem with that. Agency's done it. They've never done Mumble before in 6 seasons. It worked quite well with the nature of the rest of the game mode. What about Compass Rose? A record round where every season is Mumble. Does that not feel overused to you? Because
Not necessarily.
Because Compass Rose, I just think every single season is Mumble, Move 00, no name tags. Those are 3 game modes which are too specialist to literally be used as the norm for every single season.
Yeah, I think
That
that's a bit
reminds me
odd.
of that reminds me of the shitty repetition of manipulation with the same
Manipulation of
the
terrain
same
twice in a row.
Like nice work.
Well, I used Battle Royale Stranded because if Andros made a third one-time round with the same concept of Mumble again, just in a different terrain, how would that be any different than Compass Rose seasons 1, 2, and 3 being Mumble?
Yeah, I see
I
your
think
point.
the idea
Wait,
that
are
there's
you
going to be
trying
a
to-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and who knows how many more of Compass Rose, whereas these are runtime rounds. And I think that if Andrizzle did organize a third round with similar concept, people would kind of be like, okay, it's this again.
I
Because-
I
Well,
think
that's
people
because
would
I
have
don't
wasn't
think that would
even
be
like-
because it would be called another one-time round.
Stranded wasn't bad. Like it was good in its own right, but like seeing it come out right after Battle Royale, I'm like, oh hey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was somebody
Royale
who did
Season
say,
2.
to me, this looks way too similar. But I understand,
Yeah.
the premise of the round was totally different by the whole thing, but it did just feel like Andrizzle enjoyed Battle Royale so much, didn't want to get shit for doing a season 2, so he came up with another way to do a very similar idea.
I'm gonna call this right now. There's gonna be a third one.
I don't know.
No,
I don't.
I think there's gonna be.
Do you reckon? I disagree.
No, Andrizzle has removed all of his UHC videos, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's probably all of his.
Okay,
UHC.
then he's gonna do an Overwatch Mumble one. Like you like Ally and Sombra, whatever.
Also, I think there's only so many of that you can do. Like, you know, you could keep doing one-time recorder rounds with different concept and keep using Mumble, but they will be different things and they'll be used for a different reason. Like, if every single one-time RR decided to do Mumble, no one would really mind too much, because the idea of a one-time recorder round is like, oh, you know, this is pretty, this is different, and they've just added Mumble because it's a cool extra, which makes a round even more, you know, watchable and enjoyable for players. So I don't think it will cause too much of a fuss. I think the thing with Compass Rose is because it's a recurring recorded round, and its aim, like any recorded rounds, is to keep going and, you know, to try and get some seasons under their belt over a period of time. And if Compass Rose, you know, one day became the new WMC and ended up on season 17, for example, and every single one of them had been Mumble, Move 00, no name tags, just with every season a Compass doing something different, to you, would that not be a little bit in excess of what?
It is a little bit.
Because Andrizzle PC isn't going to come out with 17 different one-time recorded rounds all doing Mumble, is it? Whereas, you know, this round could go on for a fairly long period of time because they've got two pretty good organisers. I think Talon does a good job.
17 seasons to 2 back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Is Compass Rose always going to be Mumble? We
Yes,
know that.
it is.
Yes, it is.
That is a fact. I'm not.
Episode 1
I meant
post
like
says.
Mumble with just a different compass.
Yes, that is the concept of the round.
The episode 1 Compass Rose, it says that every season will have custom terrain, Mumble plugin, no name tags, a compass with a different effect, and no meetup and a shrinking border.
No
That's
meetup.
every single thing you see.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know that. That's my mistake.
No meetup.
then.
Wait, so how long was the first season?
I think it was 8 episodes.
Episode
I
8.
forgot Shrinking Ball. Yeah, never mind.
Episode 8.
Like
I mean,
didn't know
those are
that part. That's
too
my
many
mistake.
specific game modes to have
Yeah.
on repeat, and I think Mumble especially.
My issue with the first, I mean, look, I enjoyed the first season, right?
Oh,
but
so did
it
I,
was
yeah.
not a good start when the only thing that you added to your every season batch was mystery teams, which meant that everybody had a teammate by the end of episode 1. Like, if that's kind of what they're going for, I don't have very high hopes for what they can add on to that for future seasons, because with that, they've already got that many game modes under their belt for each installment of their recorded round, so I don't think they could add that much more and still make it,
I'm gonna make
unique.
I'm gonna make a bit of a little bit of a food analogy here.
Oh, good.
You can, if you have a consistent thing amongst rounds, it's like it's like making a meal with one kind of flavoring. You can add other flavorings and get the taste of them. If you have a meal every day which has many different types of flavoring in them, it doesn't matter if you add another flavor. It's just gonna taste the same, just maybe slightly different. It's just gonna. It's too much.
That slight difference is too much to have that many times in a row.
Talon, we're sorry, we're shitting on you.
Yeah, this is twice now, Talon, in one
it's
episode.
not-
I'm so
nothing
sorry.
personal.
You're a very nice person. We apologize.
I'm just a little doubtful about how it's gonna go on.
And I think
but
the Mumble especially.
I think Mumble as a theme would be nice, but having all of that together on top
They're
of
on
the
their
third
third
season is a
season.
little excessive.
What's on their third season? No.
Yes.
no.
No, there's not.
Oh.
There's Compass Rose
I could have
1.
swore, weren't they? I thought they had more than one season.
No.
No,
Oh,
when did
my
Compass
bad.
Rose? It came out like a month ago, right?
Came out
2
the
months
start of July.
The trailer
Yeah,
came
start
out
July.
2 months ago.
God, it
Start
feels
July.
like so much longer ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Brax guy plays. Wow.
But yeah, I just think it's too many. Like, if you had one of those game modes and it was just used every season, all right, you know, fair enough. It's something they've decided to do. That it's just too many specific game modes to just do on repeat.
Mumble as a theme, I don't. If like someone said, okay, this is a Mumble recorded round, then I don't think I'd get tired of it because I know watching it, it's a Mumble recorded round.
I mean, you could use Out of Orbit as a
because every
example
game
for
is
this. They
space
use
terrain.
Jump Boost every season, but it's just one thing. It's not like it's not the same thing every single season. It does differ from season.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the main complaint coming from Compass Rose is that it's just kind of too specific. Like they're narrowing it down to having so many things that it's like, yeesh, well, how much can you really change each season, buddy? You know?
Yeah.
And if you add enough game modes to make it different every season, then
I
in my
think
eyes, there's too many game modes.
I think the worst part about it is, like, the main premise is a differing compass effect, which, like, how much can you do with that? Like, straight up. What,
They
what's
already
the
used
compass
the-
effect of the first season?
Nothing.
They already used
They
the
would've
pointing to
established the
teammates.
It didn't
Mumble
work.
as, like, a theme and not a compass. I think it would have been better.
Okay, this season, compass is gonna show you to oak trees. Next season, it's gonna show you to mossy cobblestone.
Sweet.
Like,
Dungeons galore. Check that one out.
I don't know. Hopefully they can build off of it. I have no idea even what the compass effect was for season 1, so
I pointed you to your mystery team.
But it worked
mates.
from episode 1, which means everyone just met up with their teammate before
Literally,
you could
everybody
actually
met up with their
PvP
team in
anyone
episode 1.
else.
Okay, well,
that's
hopefully
kinda
they can build off of it, but I don't, like, I feel like, how much can you, like, I feel like Mumble is good for some mixtures of game modes, but having it Mumble every season is gonna be repetitive, and it's gonna be, in some cases, depending on what the team size is, it's gonna be annoying. So...
You could
I don't
almost
know.
compare it to YouTube clickbait. Now, I don't want to make, because that sounds like such a derogatory thing, but it's like,
What?
Mumble is something that
wow.
everybody loves to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a recorded round, but every single season we're going to make Mumble, because that'll entice the viewers, and then whatever
Yeah.
else
We're
we
doing
decide
that.
to add, people
It's like
will
making
watch
every
it no
single
matter
video, yeah,
what.
clickbait. Besides one here and
It's
there,
like when
you
fidget
know.
spinners were a thing, and you could just do a vlog, and
Oh
if
my
you put
God,
fidget
don't
spinner
compare
in the
Compass
title,
Rose to
everyone
fidget
will watch
spinners,
it.
please.
I agree with that, like,
Let's
but
now make a new round. All of us
I'm
will
gonna
fidget
organize it called
spinner.
fidget spinners.
I
Yeah.
stand
Cute
by that. If you
season.
establish Mumble as a theme, it's okay.
This is the
If
worst
you have a
podcast
theme,
ever.
Like if Out of Orbit started doing Mumble every season on top of Space Terrain, that would be like the clickbait thing. But I feel like if you establish that this is a Mumble round, everything's gonna be every season's gonna be Mumble with different things to make Mumble better.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a cool
it'd be
idea, because
What-
as
yeah,
Dom was
what
saying
even is
before,
the
Mumble's a
topic here?
concept which can be used in so many different ways, and so many different game modes can make Mumble enjoyable to play. So if you can do a different thing each season which influences the way in which players use the Mumble to their advantage or whatever, then that's a really cool idea.
But
But
having
the
Mumble
compass
every
thing is really weak in my eyes.
Yes. So having your report round based off compasses and then just having Mumble every season, that would get repetitive.
Yeah.
But if it's established that Mumble is the core to the round itself, like if it was Mumble Rose,
Mumble Rose.
Appropriate
and
title.
then it was a compass every season, maybe, I don't know.
We're just gonna have to. It's kind of bad that we're kind of judging it without seeing what the second season is. But
No, I'm saying, you know, if they can do something, please change my opinion. I would like
Yeah.
for them to change my
Yeah, I
opinion
would.
on it. I'm just not very. I'm doubtful. You know,
You
that's
can
all I'm
say
saying.
it's unfair, but it's literally the only example of somebody who said they're going to use Mumble every season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I'm only going
admitted
off
that
what
that
they gave
is
us.
what they're gonna do, and that for me is
I
too
think the only
much.
other round that's used Mumble enough to compare is Ambition, but they don't do it every season, so...
They've
it's
done
not
it
really-
like 3 times.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's more than
It
any
feels like
rounds.
more. Has it really only been 3?
Well,
I-
season
well,
7, season
Has any other
10,
round done Mumble
And
more
season
than 3
18.
times?
and season 8.
Oh,
Has it just been those 3?
Felt
Yeah.
like way more than that.
no, that was it. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, would you look at that?
Do we
yeah.
want to move on? I
Wait,
think
wait,
we've.
wait, one last thing.
Sure.
Round 3, prove us wrong.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Basically, the
Please
only
make
thing you
it...
need to
I'm
please
down
make
for
it
that.
Mumble Rose.
do. Mikey Ross.
If there's one thing to take out of this conversation, it's definitely Mumble Rose.
Exactly.
Humble Rose, please.
We want to move on from Mumble.
This one should probably be
Coordinates?
quite quick, but you know, it's probably a good thing to touch on because it was quite a big recorder round. We're going to talk about, you know, the death, the end, the demise, the crushing of addiction.
Jeez.
A lot of verbs.
I
The
just heard-
crushing.
I
God.
just heard that,
honey.
I've heard
The
that
gradual depletion
they
of
got-
addiction.
they didn't get enough episode 1s
Yeah.
to push forward or whatever.
I
But
think
also,
you guys said like 8 out of 20.
yeah,
which is-
but
yeah, that's
but
pretty
also
bad.
the intro did not get a lot of good reception.
Oh,
So I
no.
feel,
I think they had
feel like
one
that
team that was fully uploaded when they
And that was
released
like
episode 1.
G-Sam, FaZe MC, Awesome MacD, and Alunial, I'm pretty
Yeah.
For
sure.
the winners.
Yeah,
the winners.
the winners. How did that team win? Fucking hell, they were by far the worst team in the game.
It's a proven fact that G-Sip has never missed a shot in Minecraft. Did you see the agency intro?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's sad to see Addiction go, but I would say, it's, I don't know if I'd be right saying it's been a long time coming, but I don't think there's been a lot of effort put into it the past couple of seasons.
No, Kraft has openly admitted he has no like motivation
that's what you
left
get when the
around.
person organizes it or whatever just does not play a lot anymore and loses effort in the game, not just like organizing. Because I'm sure there's been rounds where people just don't like organizing, but like he lost motivation in both, I think. At least because I never saw him play
It's
a lot.
not even
anyway.
just the organizer though. Like 90% of the core roster of
The addiction group don't play Minecraft anymore.
They don't play Minecraft.
They have no respect for the round anymore. Like none
Whatever
of them
happened
actually
to
bother to
Joe?
upload.
Joe's Reddit. Where did he
Oh,
go?
I
in
love
addiction? Come on.
Joe90JC.
This was being foreshadowed as well, because in the most recent season, the upload rates were fucking horse shit.
Okay, no, I think they had like
So-
almost full for 10. 10 was good. 9
No,
was
Well,
horrible.
was 9 the bad one?
9 was
like,
the bad one.
9 was
yeah.
terrible.
I think 8 was a team of 4.
No,
7
9
was a team
four.
of 4. 8 was
eight
team of
was a team of
2.
2.
Oh, okay.
That was
so
one with the-
9 was the one that had just horrid upload rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was getting hope for the round again because 10 they came back with a fairly good season
It was
and
quite
full
sad
rates.
to see it go, because I was just like, well, I think season 6 was, I thought seasons 1 through to 5 were pretty good, and then season 6 came out. It took 6 attempts to be recorded. The roster had changed quite a lot. The upload rates weren't amazing, and you just start to think, yeah, this round is going downhill. And then they surprised you by getting 3 more seasons out after season 6 that were just, gradually getting worse every time. And then season 10 comes in, wow, fresh, some fresh meat in the roster, some actual good additions. The team of Hammerfan, Kingsley, and Smooth Maneuver. One of the best recorded round teams.
Was that a thing?
That was a thing.
What the fuck?
Well, Hammer and Kingsley were a team, and they were like, Hammer, who do you want to sub? And he was like, I want Smooth Maneuver.
No, because it was pick teams. Pick teams of 3.
Yeah, and then that team was a thing.
Oh, okay. So, was Ambition season 11 the least amount of players they ever had too? It was
11?
The season that they redid like 3 times. Yes,
That was 8.
No,
8 was
season 11 is the
probably
most
the least
recent
amount
one,
then.
and they only had 20 people, right?
No, they had
that
18.
was-
They had
Less.
18 6 teams of 3 for season 6.
I'm talking on. About,
11 was.
What
the
are you
team of
talking about?
3.
Sorry.
11 was the team of 3-1 with the What's
no,
the name?
11 is the most recent one that was shit, and they ended it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Ambition. Sorry, I
Yeah,
was like,
you definitely said
Did I
it.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, why are you talking about Ambition?
Yeah, I was like, wait, where did Ambition come from in this?
Yeah, no,
Sorry, was
I
thinking
think
about
it did have a really
Kevin
small
Peary, and then I thought
roster.
about Kaoki Owner, and then I don't know.
Kevin
The
Peary.
They all
transition
have
from
so
Kevin
fast.
Peary to
Kevin,
Kaoki is what
Kaoki, it's all the
concerns
same,
me.
right?
They are.
Yeah.
If your name begins with a K, then it's pretty much
Pretty
the same
close.
thing.
You're the same
It's
person.
like you then start thinking of Kevin MB, and Satamana comes to the front of your mind, and it's all just a bit of a recorder round
XX
confusion.
Captation.
My boy,
Kawaii Kev,
my boy.
the
Kev
Kevin,
Kawaii Dazoo.
Kev
It's really
bunnies.
sad to see a strong round that Addiction was overall, and like that
Yeah,
ending.
Yeah, I wish they could have gone out with like a final season and really just
Yeah.
been like, all right, guys, this is it, final show for the
Wait,
grand old Reddit or
that kind of
whatever.
reminds me of like Cynical and AP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
guys.
Cynical was gonna have a final season, and they like recorded
yeah,
it.
it
They
failed.
recorded it, yeah. Exactly one.
A lot of good rounds have ended
And then
fairly poorly.
I don't know how good AP11 was, but
Oh,
AP10 in
not,
my
Yeah.
opinion,
not
Very
good,
good.
not
Yeah,
good.
11 was
They should
not
have ended
very
on
good.
10.
in my opinion,
10 was like-
10 would have been an amazing.
10
way
should have
to
been
end
the
it.
stopping.
10 was
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
good season too. Like
As
that
much
was
as I'm
really
obviously,
nice.
like biased, I'm glad there was an 11 because I got to play, but at the same time, like, yeah, 11 was not a good season. And they agreed, Harlan and Tyler intended to do a season 12 because they knew 11 was not a good way to end the round, but at the same time, like, they just didn't have the motivation. Harlan was going off to college. And Tyler didn't want to solo organize.
Yeah,
so
at the end of the day,
that's why they ended
hindsight
up
is a good
ending it.
thing. If they'd known that by
Yeah.
recording season 11, that would be what the round came to be. They wouldn't have recorded it, and they would have ended on 10.
Yeah.
But you can't then go
I
back
do agree with
afterwards
that,
and
yeah.
say, "Oh, I wish we hadn't done this," because you don't know that at the time. And you might want to then do
yeah.
a season 12 to end up. What if season 12 is then even worse or something? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think generally like
Well, that would've
doing a
killed the
final
too.
season can be good because it's kind of like an official statement to be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is it. This is what we're doing. But at the same time, Addiction had clearly been at that point for a while where they were having
Yeah.
struggles just mustering people to play. So I don't even know if they would have been able to do it.
And
like, get
I
a
know,
final
like,
group
from
together.
experience, not from actually having organised one, but having from seen them, that, like, if you actually organise a season as a final season, you increase the likelihood of getting old players to come back.
I got like 5 people back
Yeah,
for this.
that was
final
my
season of Stamina.
suggestion, bro.
Let's
I
split.
told you to make
Welcome
to
back to
call
Kenmore.
it like the last season and then
Oh
invite back
no!
old
That was
members.
not. No, I had been talking to Kevin about that for months before it was actually
Well,
decided.
Okay.
You can't. Don't steal
No,
my cred there. Come on.
That was my
Yeah,
suggestion.
bro, we
bro.
should-
It was. What do you mean? Okay.
It
Whatever.
was.
Moving on. No, it was not.
It
Let's get
was.
out of here.
Ask Kevin MB.
He can't. He owns the podcast. We kind of need him.
I was
Yeah.
kind of the organizer. You stepped in for the last season, said hey, and died in episode 3. You were not the one who made that decision.
So it's a proven fact that I had.
Did
the
I
most
die? Oh yeah,
influence
shit, I
of Sir
did.
Tanema.
No thanks to you. You went back through the
Episode
nether portal and left me to die to Paper Vinny. That was
See,
fucking
this
your
is why
fault.
this is why you rushed the Nether in Ep 1.
Yeah, like Sir and I did. Ambition. season
Well, the reason Badfin wanted to go into the Nether was to catch Casmic and Katie
Who
Lawson
had
for some
gotten
free
out
kills.
about 40 minutes ago.
Me and Katie went in episode 1 and we came out with potions Ep 2. If
And then you
me
died.
and Katie can have a successful Nether run in one episode, there is no excuse.
We
I know it's a
died.
little, like, off
I
the
got
topic,
killed.
but when Brown had said, "Hey, do you want to sub for the mystery team season of Sir Tanema?" I was like, "Sure, I'll win a season real fast."
You did.
And guess what ended up happening?
you
I
lost.
won a
You
season
got
real
got
fast.
dropped first fight. No.
You had very nice to carry
You won
you.
because
So
of hecticity, right?
Well, yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what else is hecticity there for?
Did you win Lightning
Other
Bolt
than to give
season
me a
6?
No, I only played one season, I believe. But I can play the fail season too.
well, that was a
Okay,
good quality
good
talk about
topic,
addiction.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
What are we
well,
talking
yeah.
about?
R.I.P.
We
addiction.
were talking about
RIP
addiction.
Hey, good work, Mr. Craftneater. It was good.
Yeah.
for when
Yeah,
it
honestly,
had
thank
10
you
seasons.
for keeping it up. It was
Candy
entertaining
forgives
to
you.
watch.
He did well
The-
to persist with a lot of the people in the roster throughout the
It
last
was-
few
it was-
it was
seasons.
entertaining to watch the perspectives I could, but I did enjoy it. So
I enjoyed it in the season 2 intro when it said "fuck." I was like, "Whoa."
Edgy. That was a
Yeah.
good intro,
Setting
actually.
standards for intros.
I quite liked that.
I'm pissed off that they showed the Mr. Team's colors in the initial intro, but it is what it is. What can you do?
So angry.
Very angry.
Right, do
I
we
left
want to
an
move on
angry
from
comment.
addiction now?
Yeah.
Alright, so which now means we get to move on to the last part of the podcast as per usual, which is where we get to listen to these lovely people talking about their recorded round and the history of it and how it all started and all that
Yeah.
good shit.
Is Lego here? Because he's been muted for a while. But...
He's been messaging me on TS. Don't worry about it. Easy.
Okay.
Just
So
decided
Lego, I
not
don't
to
actually
speak.
know if you know this, but I don't know if everyone here knows. But originally, Parker X Hockey and I had a private group named Luminosity, where we
Thanks,
hosted. Where we hosted. It was basically like back in the day Harvard, except not as Harvard.
It was like
Except not as Harvard-y.
We hosted private games every weekend that had stats and stuff. It was a lot of fun. But the original idea for Luminosity was to be a recorded round. That was the main thing.
Do you remember,
and then we just kind of, like, Parker and I wanted
I have to
two
think
things.
about
We
it.
wanted an original roster, and we wanted an original game mode. And we were unwilling to do a recorded round unless we had those two things. So we started adding people, and then we just kind of kept getting away from that, and we just couldn't come up with a game mode. So we eventually gave up on it and just had Luminosity. And then finally, one day I was like, Parker, we're fucking doing it. We're making a fucking recorded round.
And
We have to come up with something. We're gonna do it. And then he ended up coming up with an OCTC styled game mode originally. And I kind of kept pushing him away from it because I didn't like it, and I figured we'd get shit for like basically an OCTC copy. And I think I was right. I think that would have definitely gotten more shit than our season 1 already did. And he came up with COD Zombies, and NJ Craft PvP ended up scripting it. And of course we had, lovely KJB Jupiter snowballed around and
10
lose
kills.
his fucking footage. So that was not the greatest start for us, and Parker was unwilling to redo because back then, especially season 1s, if you redid, it didn't work out. Like the round died, so we didn't want that to happen. So he took the risk.
I remember
And then
or like when it was just like Luminosity, with like Tyler's made like a banner with like everyone in the group, something like that.
Yep.
And I remember what do we call it? Pro Killer. He was like number 1 for kills after being kicked in season 3, and he was still number 1 until he was still number 1 until like season like 9 or something like that. He had like 14 kills, and then finally.
Oh my god!
And then
Wait, who beat him in the end?
It was so frustrating because he was the dirtiest player. And it got to the point where a couple of people were like, including Kaoki, was like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not playing any more seasons with him because he doesn't play for entertainment. He plays dirty, and it's not fun.
Yeah, and
he is a pro killer.
That was the first person that I ever kicked, and at that point, Parker was starting to drift away from the organization. He had started college, and he wasn't as interested in recorder rounds in general anymore. And so he didn't stop getting credit until season 7, but season 4 is when he stopped organizing, and I started doing everything on my own, and I kicked him officially as organizer for 7 because he paid for the art for season 6. So I didn't feel right in kicking him as a co-organizer because of that, and I did want to give him credit for that. But yeah. I was very happy when he left, though, I'm not gonna lie, because I hated his game modes, and I hated having to past him.
He left all recorded rounds, so...
Yeah, he eventually did leave everything. He left Grudge, though, too, right?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he left everything.
You're welcome
Tragic left everything except for Evo. And I'm pretty sure he can't play this upcoming season, so rip.
Alright, and then I remember... And I think I was supposed to be a sub for season 3. I'm pretty sure I was just supposed to be a sub.
I think you were, yeah.
And then,
you were originally a sub, and then you got added.
I remember I started talking to you guys when I started playing Badline with you and Probo, and then Parker gave me like the Park TS back when it wasn't like
before it was Evolution TS and then my TS.
Yeah, it's like the Park TS, and I started like talking to people, and then I got into Luminosity, but that was like right before it kind of died, and then. And I remember I was a sub, I teamed with Dad Cub, and he died like episode 1 or something like that.
Because his mouse just like completely spazzed out and he fell in lava.
And then I remember I'm pretty sure I either stayed or I got voted back in, and then I haven't missed a season since.
Yeah.
I'm like one of the only people that haven't missed a season since. We thought you were going to miss that
season, and I changed this upcoming game mode. Because that was originally supposed to be our season 11, but season 12.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember you tweeting about that. I was like, oh, that's so nice.
And you were so excited about it. Yeah. So, but you ended up being able to make this season anyway because you were starting to feel better by then.
Yeah.
And then Evader, you're welcome for getting into Evo. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, only 2 people were up for vote this season. Evader got in. And I found out that Copper was trying to get Joe 90 in by messaging everybody, telling them to vote for Joe. They didn't realize that voting for Joe meant that Evader wouldn't get in. And so I had a lot of people coming to me being like, wait, what? That's a thing? I'm like, yeah. So Evader technically did not get in by 1 vote. And I may or may not have added him over Joe anyway because I didn't find it fair that Copper was kind of bullying people for votes.
Bullying, okay, yeah.
I don't want to use the word bullying because it wasn't really that, but
pressuring.
That's the only way I can think of. But just trying to just convincing everybody to add him because he was a nice guy, even though they had never spoken to him before. They had no idea who he was, whereas they had talked to Evader before. So that was just kind of frustrating, and that's when I stopped doing votes on the subreddit and switched over to forums Google
Yeah.
Forms.
Yeah.
Because originally it was just everyone vote in chat. Like, who do you think should be in the round?
Oh.
And then I realized after a while that was kind of a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in a round where, the voting was it was public, like who voted yes and no, which I didn't like at all because I just stirs up.
Yeah, because Google Forms wasn't a thing back then, as far as I know, for a while at least, for our first 2 seasons. So there was no really way around it. And obviously, I can't do a straw poll because those aren't accurate. 'Cause people can vote multiple times with different IPs.
Yeah.
So it was at the time the only real option. So. And then I think we got to a point where I was like, just message me your votes. Like, we'll just do that.
Yeah.
That's my motorcycle guy.
Oh, hey there.
Are they racing?
Yes, they are.
Oh, of course they are.
Biggest mistake was adding a Vader.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I need
First season
less
I
of a
was
feed.
added, Evolution got cool art, so
I should
coincidence,
start adding more
I
good
think
people.
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
the
Stop
art
adding
was
all these
the art was.
feeds.
I remember the art was amazing when. I mean, it still
Yeah.
was, but I remember like everyone commented.
The only
and was
intro
like,
that
wow,
I
this
made
is
that got
great.
good reception was that one because of the art. I think it was
Wait,
less to
wait.
do with the quality of my intro and more to do with that.
No,
Yeah, because the art was awesome.
What about the season 5 game mode?
Oh god. Okay, so there's a story behind that. I don't know if
I
I
love
actually
that
told
game
you guys
mode.
Grant, when I messaged you about that game
It
mode.
was season
was-
5 intro.
Season 5 game mode was originally something super complicated that ended up getting scrapped in replacement for the season that we're about to do for that game mode. We're doing that one instead and completely scrapping the 5 original game mode. But the original game mode was very complicated, and I was assured by Mr. Camaro that it would not be a problem for him to script it. And then I was
Back when
told
he
by
still
him
played.
that now Bitlington was going to script it, and then Bitlington did a horrible job. It didn't work at all whatsoever, and then he became very, not messaging me back. So at like 1 o'clock in the morning the night before, we needed a new game mode. And then I started looking on the subreddit for game modes that got a decent amount of good reception that hadn't been posted on the subreddit before, so it would still be like an original idea. And then I saw Lethal's Grant's post about
Naked
Naked and Afraid. And
Oh,
I
I
thought
love
that was
that game
interesting,
mode.
but I had no idea how to make it happen. So I ended up finding a plugin for it on the Spigot forums, and it was interesting because I let it. It didn't really work as well as it could have.
I mean,
we had someone edit it, the plugin, a little bit to make it work
I
better.
love the idea
But
of
the
that
problem
game,
was
and it was my
that
favorite
someone would be
season.
holding a potato, eating it. The opposite. They'd be holding a bow, shooting it, but it would show that they're holding like a piece of steak or something.
The items weren't matched up. Like you could be meleeing with, like your shovel or something, so you couldn't. They weren't matched up, but that was my
It's funny
favorite
because
round ever,
out
and
of
my
the
favorite
people-
team. So
The people
I
that
still
played
love
the
this
round really enjoyed the round, and that people will always tell me, "Oh, that's my favorite season." I'm like, God, I fucking hated that season. That season was so stressful. I hated that season. I hated that intro. It got so bad reception because there
I
was
like
drama
that
involved
intro.
at the time on the Reddit.
If
Oh my
you
God.
if you
Of course,
look
I got
if you look at
involved in it
like
when I shouldn't have.
if you look at the
So, we got
controversial
disappointed.
if you look at the most controversial post on the subreddit, episode 0 of Evolution 5 is like in the top 5 most controversial.
Yeah, 'cause-
And
Yeah,
I'm
no,
always like,
Evo in
what? How'd that
general
happen?
is.
Yeah, that's
Evo in
crazy.
general is. We had a lot of
Yeah,
that
if you
reception at
scroll
the
through the first
beginning.
page, like season 1
Evo
intros
2,
on
Evo
there.
2,
They're all
Evo 5.
they're all controversial, but
Jesus.
yeah, but
I blame Parker kind of myself because I got involved with drama a lot back then, and that didn't make me very popular. But people really dislike Exaki, like very much in the Reddit community. Everyone really, really dislikes Exaki because, especially back then, he was a complete douchebag to everybody. So having him as an organizer wasn't exactly the healthiest thing for the round, and that's another reason why. We started getting upvotes after he no longer was, organizing and playing, and I'd like to think that those, correlate a little bit between each other.
So what I'm
I
hearing
think you
is,
might be right about
the
that.
controversy began to decline my appearance, is what I'm hearing.
No, I think it started.
No, I think it got worse.
Confirmed.
I feel like it's funny because Evo 5 was the first season that Tommy played, and Tommy messaged me. He's like, I'm pretty sure that I'm the reason we're getting downvoted. I'm like, no, that's definitely not the reason. It's definitely the controversy about, you know, and me getting involved with the drama with Cute Sharks. I think that's definitely the reason that we got disliked.
Let's not
Shout out to Cute Shark.
Let's not bring that up.
No, it
again,
wasn't
please.
Cute Shark though. He, you know, it wasn't him as an individual. It was just the people that, you know, took his side. I think more
it was
so,
just
and the
stupid
people that
drama that
cared
people
enough to dislike about
decided
it.
to.
I
No,
just
but that
don't.
wasn't-
I
I don't
don't
think-
believe
it
that
wasn't done
50
that
plus
defensive.
people actually dislike the intro that much. So
You never know.
I can empathize. Maximus MC was a good friend of mine that dislike botted every single out of orbit intro until season 7.
We should
yeah,
have used
so
Ditas.
Oh my god, sorry to interrupt.
fun.
I just went on
We had so
Arctic
much fun
NA
doing
and
those.
put in chat, somebody got on Sanctius to do this week's outro for the RR podcast, and everyone just starts joining the lobby.
I
There's
like
about
every-
5 or 6 people in there now. Fuck.
Oh
I
my
like
God.
every game mode of Evo, so I don't. I thought season 5 was amazing, so there's not a
Wow.
season that I hated so much because
Everyone hated the game mode in 6,
I've
but I
done.
loved 6.
I've liked
and I was
all
so
of them, and
disappointed
I've done
I didn't
good
get
in a lot of them. So
Yeah,
I
and
wasn't a big
Terraria
fan.
as well. I added somebody to Evo. I can't remember who it was, and I don't want to spoil because I can't remember if it's a new person. But they were like, "When are we doing another Terraria season?" I was like, "Not for a while. We just did one." They're like, "We should do it next season." I'm like, "No." They're like, "I want to play Terraria
No,
though." I was like,
thanks.
"We can't do Terraria again for a while. Maybe for like a 3 or 4 years or something."
I don't
but
remember my
I
Terraria
don't plan
season
on
very
killing
well.
it off anytime soon.
oh, I remember the first one was really good.
I wonder why.
I killed funny bunnies and I also killed I don't know, I killed someone else, but then that was the first tragic season that he won. That started
Yeah,
the,
that's the snowball up till season 9 when you finally killed him. Thank God.
I
I may or may not
targeted
have been screaming into
I
you.
targeted
Thank God
him
he's
so
dead. Thank
bad
God.
because I
Oh,
wanted
thank
his streak
God.
to end. It was
Yeah,
so
we
bad.
all
Fair
did.
enough.
We all
I-
did.
I
And Travis
chased-
said he was fine with it ending, and then like he super try-harded the season. I'm like,
I-
really?
Me and Diana were fighting. He interrupted our fight, and then he killed Diana, I think, right? And then
Yeah, he killed me.
and then I stole the loot, and then he like ran down a cave. I like chased after him and killed him, and I was like,
I sacrificed my
I
life
wanted
for
him to
yours,
die
Vinny.
so bad,
He
'cause I
still
wanted-
didn't win.
I wanted the streak to end so much.
Fucking
In an
Sonic
FFA,
won.
he's
Of
got
all
a
the
lot
people in
less
the
of a
game.
chance.
And then also I remember I died to Cappy that season. And
Yeah.
I like that the
I've
Golden Apple
avenged
game
you,
mode.
Vinny, too much.
Yeah, that was a fun game mode because it very much like every time somebody got strength from a gapple, they fucking
No, that
killed
was
the other person.
season I got jump boost 4 or like jump boost 2 or something
4.
from a Golden Apple, and then I
That's
was
how I killed Dito.
I was fighting X Hockey and I destroyed him so bad, and then all of his viewers got so mad at me and they were like commenting on my videos.
I think
and
it
they
was
were
only
like,
jump boost 2
"Dude,
or
you're so
3
bad."
because it wasn't enough to take fall damage, and that's how I killed
2.
Dito. Dito was dicking me in bow and melee, got jump boost, and just was able to crit her out and
It
kill
was
her.
2.
I remember reading the comments
Yeah.
on X Hockey's video at the time. It was just all complaining about you, Vinny, because they're just like, "Oh my God, Bo is cancer" or
Yeah,
whatever. Like they were
they were all
pissed.
Yeah, 'cause
about
they're all
me
bad.
and-
He's a big Bad Lion player back then.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
YouTube rank and everything.
He had a big
so.
following.
And I
Yeah.
was
Mhm,
just,
yeah.
Cause I don't know, I'm like jump boost is like OP if you like know how to use it. And I was just like jumping over all
Yeah.
his arrows and hitting him, and he kept like healing, and then he was running away, and I like got a long shot on him, and then there was like everyone was just like shitting on me in the comments. It was so bad.
It's funny because every superheroes game on the subreddit that I see that I play, someone's like, "Oh fuck, I got jump boost. I'm like, let's switch accounts. I want
Yeah.
it."
Jumpers is
I-
good, dude.
I
You
can,
can
A,
mess
I
with
don't
people.
have to strafe, and B, I can melee people.
I think
for
jump
once.
boost is better than health, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
And even
Jump-
even with the Arctic thing that does like double the health, double the gaps healing or whatever, I still think it's better.
Yeah. I think superheroes is related to evolution, right? There's probably some correlation
totally.
there.
I
And then-
remember
Yeah.
shortly after Evo 7, whenever I log onto Badline, I get a message, "Oh my god, you know Lennox. Oh my god,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Provo." And I was
Another
like,
person
no,
that
I
Parker
don't
just
know
kind of
that.
added that I didn't think was a good idea.
And he didn't talk at all. He doesn't talk in like in like regular games, so the recording run wasn't that good for him, I don't think.
Evo 7 was, my team was just all my best friends of people I've never spoken to before, like Zmodo, Underwolf, Lennox, and Provo. And we just didn't talk, because none of us knew each other.
Yeah. How are the pairings made originally if you didn't know your teammate? Was it like random teams then for the team of
I was
twos?
supposed to be on another team, and then
Oh,
someone
okay.
else joined. So they
Oh,
put
was that rigged teams? Or
Wait,
think
which
it was rigged.
what season was that?
the
the
Kings
Time
2-5?
Kings.
Oh yeah, that was originally supposed to be random, but we had some roster changes at the last second, and I had to
I
change
like my
people
team.
around.
It was like me, Jake, Dibs, Luce,
Oh,
and
You
someone
guys were the
else.
victims that season. And-
Oh yeah, Tommy
your
got
fight.
like a penta on us, or like a
Yeah.
quad or something.
Yeah.
And he was freaking out, like absolutely just freaking out.
That's why Kings should just never be a thing ever.
I can't. I'm not a big fan of Kings. It's fun when you're the king though, so that's why it's fine when that was times Kings because it was actually super unfair because you would think that it would go through all 5 of the people, but I was the king like 3 out of the 5 times.
It was just completely random.
It was
who
random.
swapped to.
It was like Dibs, and then it was me, and then it was Jake, and then it was like back to me, and then it was like I don't know. It was just super weird.
I see. Well, at least
I
that was a
think
game
that- I
mode
think
that never
that's
been
it,
done
yeah.
before, like ever. So
Yeah.
you got that for you.
Yeah, well, all of our game modes are. None
Yeah.
of our game modes have been hosted on the subreddit, and if they have, they're changes. Like Terraria was technically hosted on the subreddit as a random team of 25, and it was a 1 by like 5,000 or whatever border,
Oh my god.
1 block.
I mean, technically that's how Terraria is. You should have done that.
Yeah,
for
but that was
Evolution.
so weird.
That would have been a good game mode.
Yeah.
Do we want to close off shortly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright,
I
what?
think, I think we can
Who
now.
have you roped in?
I've roped in
AJ
Mercury
wants to be moved
Paradox.
in, I don't
No,
know
I'm not
why.
doing AJ. He was on the last
Okay.
episode. All right, just
Yeah, I
wanna
don't
just
know why.
something we need to very quickly address. This is a very important thing. Wait, hold on.
All right.
Very important.
Okay.
Sure.
Very important.
All right, I apologize for that.
You better.
We're back. Okay, so the very important thing that we need to address is
Yes,
that
please.
our lovely neighborhood Lego Beast will be departing from the series after this episode on a I don't know how long basis, but
I will be taking his place.
he will be taking a break. We
Aww.
love him dearly, but you know
So
he
honored
wants
to be in the last
Let's not
episode
speak
with
for
him.
us all.
I have no idea why he's leaving, but he is. So yeah.
I mean,
fair
as you
enough.
can tell from this episode, he's clearly been having some audio issues with, because he's kind of got people in his general vicinity. It sounds like. So yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
you know, Lego, it was great having you on here. You were the
yeah.
the sass of the podcast, the bite back. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will not be the same without you. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us on this adventure. And
Yeah.
Nodding.
hopefully,
No.
yeah, that's why Grant's here. He's his replacement. Lol. To be fair, that is
Yeah.
kind of
Podcast.
true. That is kind of true. We added Grant as a joke to replace Lego, and then we kind of just let him stay. But now Lego's actually leaving,
Guys,
so
I
it all
think he's a
worked
great
out.
fit.
Guys,
Yeah,
what
I
are we going to
agree.
do about the podcast art? What are we gonna do?
Oh fuck! All right, every single video I'll just put Grant's Minecraft head over Lego's
Over Lego.
art. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how this is gonna be done. Is Grant still here?
Wait, so who's doing the outro? Who do you have?
Mercury Paradox is coming on.
All right, sounds good to me.
Alright, let's get him in here.
Welcome, Merc.
Okay.
If you wanna send us out here, that'll
Okay,
be.
so if you enjoyed this episode of the RR podcast, be sure to slap that like button with your forehead and your tongue and your fingernails and your toenails and everything else. So yeah, see you guys in the next episode. See ya.